What is going on, everybody? It is episode 191 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary, and we're back with a haphazard Casual Friday episode.
Maybe that's the best way to describe it. It's not haphazard, it's Casual Fridays, where we casually get ready
It's just extremely, extremely casual.
You know how you know that? Because I'm like out of breath while starting the show. It's fantastic. And today, returning to save me once again, would you introduce yourself, please, guest host?
Hello, it's me. I'm Hannah Claire Brimlow. I'm a writer for timcast.com and occasionally Mary's understudy. I'm happy to be back. I don't think I'm saving you at all. I don't think I've ever done a show on a Friday, or at least not in a long time.
Maybe like early on when we first started. And we have a second co-host today. Would you introduce yourself, sir?
I didn't know I was going to get the title of co-host.
Guest host, co-host. How about this? Everybody is a co-host today.
I like that.
It's Casual Friday.
Just
Everyone's
today.
a co-host.
Casual. It's haphazard Friday.
Yeah. I'm Carter Banks, musician guy, all things music, and we just launched Timcast Records.
Very important music guy right now.
I suppose you could say that.
How you doing today?
Pretty good, man. How about you?
I am haphazardly out of sorts right now, and I know
Right.
you're tired, right?
Yes, we've both been up for long hours.
It's Frenetic Friday.
There you go.
It's Frenzied Friday.
Frenetic Friday.
What we need is alliteration for everything. That makes everything better. So we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We are going to talk about Amazon and the powers that be that are not going to... Remember our boss, let's talk about Occupy. Remember Too Big to Fail? Well, Rings of Power are too big to fail, as are apparently Game of Thrones. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about Gabby Hannah, who... I had no clue who this was before Mary decided to enlighten me after I found this original article.
Apparently no one knows who this woman is. You know?
I don't know a
Okay.
ton about her, but I do
You're
think
the
it's
first
like
one.
YouTube culture, whereas like some people don't.
I had
know.
she was not somebody I was familiar with.
I'm kind of tragically over-informed on YouTube drama
I love it.
of the 2010s. So.
It's funny because like a lot of times when we're picking topics, right? So like I make the joke. I'm like, I don't want to do drama. Mary's like, I want to do all the drama.
I love drama. I love it when people get into petty beef, but this situation seems a little more serious.
Actually, it seems a lot more serious to
Yeah.
me. So we're going to talk about that, and then after that, we are going to talk about. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you so much.
I caught one.
We're going to talk about China's influence over Hollywood in a very, I called it an ultimatum when I was making the topics today. They gave Hollywood an ultimatum, and we're going to get into that. After that, we're going to do Pavlock, and then at the end, I want to talk to Carter a bit about the process of making the song that they just released. So if you guys are ready, we will just get right into it. Mary, are we ready?
We're ready as rain.
Hannah Claire, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Carter.
I took his.
Yes.
I took
Mary
his
said
idea.
it. Took
Right-
the words from my mouth.
Right as rain. The funny thing is I was wondering if there was a Chet formation today, and I didn't have one originally. I had one, and I wasn't going to do it, but you know what? We need some normality today.
We do.
So we are going to do a Chet formation, guys.
Let us center ourselves with Chet.
I think the
fucking
one
baseline. All the things that you've made non-negotiable, just fucking hit them every day. Don't think about it. Just show up for it. If you're fucking sore, okay, good. Then take it easy. Don't push yourself too hard that day. But just make sure you show up anyway. If fucking waking up is hard for you, then just make sure you wake up at that time. And then once you handle all your shit, then you could fucking take a power nap later in the day and rest then. Show the fuck up for yourself and show the fuck up for the people around you. It's simple. Just show up.
Simple.
All you need to
Hannah
do
Claire, how do you feel about this?
Like,
How do you feel about this,
if
Hannah
you
Claire?
need to wake up, just wake up. Just do it. Like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm a chronic snooze button hitter, and like, it's not that I don't have things to do, and it's not that I wouldn't like to be awake. It's just that sometimes I'm really tired.
Yeah.
I mean,
For
Just
me,
don't be, says Chet.
Well, it sounds like that's something my dad would say. Like, oh, you're having a bad day. Well, have you tried not having a bad day?
I feel
it's funny because Chet has been deliriously tired doing 50
100 burpees.
to 100 burpees in the middle of the dark, like 4 a.m. night. Like, I don't know if he is. Maybe that makes him the ultimate authority on like just waking up.
Carter, as someone with a
mean-
to-do list, how does this make you feel?
well, also as somebody who has to wear 2 Pavlock shot clocks to bed and
What?
get shocked
I have no
awake.
idea. That sounds.
What?
Are
Yeah.
you
Shock
Have you seen-
yourself?
Please explain.
Yes.
I need more details.
So I sleep through alarms chronically. I used to have like a 65 watt amp next to my head and sleep on the uncomfortable couch, so I'd wake up for tests and stuff. But I'm a heavy sleeper, and sometimes I sleep through the alarm. They invented this thing called a Pavlock Bracelet. One of the things it can do is like wake you up. I'm not endorsing this right now.
You're not endorsing.
It's just my lifestyle.
So you go on your phone and it's basically it's Bluetooth.
Okay.
You can set an alarm and you can shock yourself anywhere from like 0 to 5 times and 100%, 0%.
Have
What
you
do you
seen
do?
those? What
I do
percentage?
200%.
What?
Yeah.
So you wake up by electrocution every
I wake up
morning?
feeling like I'm crucified in my dream.
Have you seen?
Horrifying.
Yes,
Have
but
you
it
seen
works.
the meme of like the bed it's a bed that basically throws you off it?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Like it
No.
violently picks you up and basically tosses you from your bed as lights shine and like it would set off somebody with what is it?
Epilepsy?
Epilepsy.
Yeah.
It would absolutely destroy somebody with epilepsy. It's insane. Like I thought about it at one point because I am deaf in one ear, so if I fall asleep on my good ear, I'm screwed. I don't hear anything.
Oh shit.
Oh,
So I shouldn't
is
laugh.
that funny?
I don't know.
That
it's
is
just,
ableist.
Oh my God.
It's like partially.
it's like I've never had to appreciate what a struggle that would be, right? Like, what if that's the side you prefer to sleep on?
It is, sadly.
Oh my
it
God.
I
is.
think this just means that our circadian rhythm is extremely off.
I'm
We
not
need to
tried
go to
just
these
hearing?
measures.
I wake up. Have I tried just hearing? I've tried that. Luckily, I'm pretty lucky that like for the most part, my body wakes me up every day to start work. Like I'm like when you like your job.
That
it's
is true.
Like
I found that as well.
I go to bed at like 2 or 3 a.m. I wake up at about 8:30 and I'm good to go. But like back in the day when I had to wake up on my own, like via alarm, it was not a pretty sight. It was not.
Right.
And of course, you only sleep on that side when you need to wake up for something important. It never happens to the contrary. So we're going to talk about, we're going to get into Rings of Power first, which now I'm sure Hannah Claire's excited to not be talking about Chet anymore. But we're going to get into
Look,
this.
I thought that was really good advice. If you need to do something, just do it.
Just do
and
it.
if you have to wake up, just wake up. Like, guys, I didn't realize I'd made it so complicated for myself.
Have you thought about like, you're poor? Have you thought about not being
Yeah.
poor? Yeah.
And if you're
heard
not
that
good
one
at something,
before.
stop not being good at it. Like, I feel like I'm
Do
really
better.
understanding the vibe here.
We could all take advice from Chet. So we're going to get into it. So it says, Amazon Studios will declare Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, a victory regardless of actual viewership, which seems... My first thought when I saw this was like Amazon is a publicly traded company, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing I've been thinking about. I don't know if I know HBO Max is not its own company, but it's part of Warner Brothers Discovery. These are companies that are responsible to shareholders, right? So is the
well,
question
they
here
can't
like...
lie, but they can vaguely astroturf a project that they know already has astroturfed fanfare.
Yeah,
Like that's not lying. It's
So-
just omitting the truth.
basically this is too big to fail. Like they're like they spent $1 billion on
I
the
think
first
they,
season.
they believe the IP is too big to fail.
$1 billion on the first season comes out to $125 million an episode. I have seen nothing. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but that right here it says Business Insider claims to have spoken to a number of anonymous insiders at Amazon Studios.
Insiders.
Anonymous insiders. Explaining what success for the series, which is estimated to have cost upwards to $1 billion for the first season, will look like. I don't know if that includes what they paid for the rights altogether, but I know that if it's $125 million an episode, nah. That's money. That has to be money
I know
laundering.
that this is usually something I find preachy and condescending, but like think of the mouths that could be fed with that $1 billion. Not ruining
Think of the-
Lord of the Rings for all of the
Yeah.
fans who loved what it used to be.
It would be one thing if it was actually going to end up being really good.
I mean, yeah,
then the hell with those
that
mouths,
would
right?
actually be one entirely different thing.
Yes.
But I think we knew from the start, from the promotional photos, that this was going to be a dumpster fire.
I'm sorry, I don't totally understand. So no matter what happens, they're gonna call it a victory.
Yeah, because
so
how can they
they're
prove
just
otherwise?
embracing like Chet things,
Yes,
right?
they are.
It doesn't matter what
Way to
happens.
tie that back
Andy
in.
Jassy is just watches Chet every morning. Andy Jassy is the CEO or the chief in charge of Amazon Studios. So it says one anonymous insider described as a former senior Amazon Studios executive also told them that the reason why it's going to succeed is because the executives at Amazon needed to succeed. They needed to, so it will. If it doesn't succeed, there's
What?
going to be a big question for Amazon Chief Executive Officer Andy Jassy and the board. That's what I'm saying. Like, if I was a if I was like a shareholder, right? Now I always get messed up. Somebody in the chat can tell me the difference between shareholder and stakeholder. But this is a shareholder. It would be shareholders, right?
I mean, just off the cuff, I would assume shareholder means they literally own shares in the company, or a stakeholder could be someone who's invested in it, but it's not necessarily a public company.
So if you're a shareholder in Amazon Prime, or in Amazon, which has Amazon Prime, don't you have a right to know what the actual numbers are that are being produced so that the company can justify spending that much money further?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're just using hyperbolic language to talk about the PR standpoint of the response to the show.
Yeah.
You know, not faking the numbers.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Or
I'm saying
hiding the numbers.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I think they're going to fake them. I'm saying that they don't have any obligation to release them anyways, at least not to the public. They could tell us any number they want. How would we know? It's not like it's publicly available information.
The financial record?
No, however well it does on Amazon Prime. Are you judging this based on how many new subscriptions you get? Because that could be for.
But are the shareholders entitled to that information?
I feel like they should be.
I
feel
think
like if you're
in
a
their
shareholder,
financial reports they would include an overall. Like I don't know if they report the company separately, right? So like Amazon in general will put out some kind of report to its shareholders overall. Yeah. But I don't know how much they separate out Amazon, the buy stuff at 2 a.m. part from the Amazon Prime versus the studio. I'm sure they have numbers. Sorry, look, I'm cutting Carter off.
Sorry, you triggered a moment that I had with a mini segue.
Go for it.
It's totally out of context.
We don't. It's Friday. It's frenetic Friday. Go
Friday.
ahead.
Okay,
it's
one time.
Friday.
It's funny. Just thinking about Amazon. I once was on my way home from a bar, and some dude was riding a mini Segway, or a Segway mini, like in the street, and he like...
oh, you meant like an actual Segway?
Yeah,
I thought you meant like
physical Segway.
Hey, Segway.
From now on, I only demand segues about actual segues.
It's a Segway in every sense of the word. Anyway,
Holy
I
crap.
wrote it. It was cool. It was like magical. He's like, yeah, this is where to get one. And so I got on Amazon and ordered it. 2-day shipping on a Saturday night. Got the protection plan, everything. I forced myself. I knew I was going to wake up and regret this decision, so like I made it as difficult as possible. Long story short, I had to cancel my credit card.
Oh.
But I couldn't afford a Segway Mini.
I feel like that is what Amazon is born for. Like Amazon saw their model and also was like, but the QVC and that late night shopping, they know what they're doing.
They're like, I'm picturing like it's like the board meeting right before the start of the new quarter, and he's like, all right, I want you to picture this. It's a house. It's a family. They're sitting there on their couches, and they're all shopping on Amazon Prime as they watch Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power on Amazon Prime.
But that's a reality. It's creepy.
I mean, I do miss when it was about selling books.
Well, I have a list
I remember
of
that.
Yeah, see, I have like a list of 25
Nerdcast.
books I want to buy right now just because like over a couple months I'll collect them. But I feel like the most efficient way to buy them would actually be ordering them on Amazon. But I don't want to endorse Bezos, so I don't know how I'm going to do it.
But you buy things from Amazon.
I don't buy things from
Right?
Amazon.
You don't,
I
ever.
don't. No.
Wow.
I had it for a while, like because it was convenient. I used to order when I would move mattresses that came in the boxes
Yeah.
to Amazon from Amazon because they would just show up on your porch, and I never had to like figure out how to get a truck. Like there is a purpose for Amazon. I understand why it got so big. I just think it's crazy they can be like, well, no matter what, we win with this $1 billion series.
Well, this is my favorite part. The alleged executive added, if we can't take this piece of IP and make it successful, why is Amazon Studios even here? It has to succeed. There's no option.
They literally did everything they could to not make it the way it should be made, and then now are complaining about how they have to succeed. This is not... The funny thing is, making this is not hard. Follow the books.
I think it is because you have to live up to the movies.
Shouldn't be hard to at least make something with that amount of money that's serviceable.
Do you think
passable.
they're just making it hard for themselves?
I think quotas and modern day identity politics, as they've infested Hollywood, have made it extremely hard for them to do so.
So what do you know about this series so far?
Okay. So what I want to, more than that, I wanted to compare it to Game of Thrones because that's the one I actually care about. I don't... Care is a hard word there. I'm more invested in watching The House of the Dragon than I am invested in The Rings of Power.
There's a huge dedicated fan base for both.
Yes.
And I think that's something that they, in a sick way, kind of seek out so that they can topple it over.
Yeah. I make no mistake. Like, I'm not a George R.R. Martin fan, huge George R.R. Martin fan. I'm not a huge Tolkien fan. I watch these IPs being strip mined for basically nothing by these major corporations. And if anything, what I feel is awful for the people that have poured their hearts and souls and time into reading these books, learning the lore, being passionate about the source material, because I'm watching it get destroyed for them. It would be like, I don't know what the example for me would be. There was actually there's a book series called by Jim Butcher called what was it called? I'm free off the top of my head.
What a haphazard Friday for you.
It's a haphazard Friday.
Doesn't even know what books he's referencing.
That's a horrible one for me to not be able to remember.
I can't think of a franchise that you're like really dedicated to other than Fast and Furious.
And even that's a meme.
And that's like, that's you memeing.
I
think
but like,
that's just
what
you
are
trying
you
to torture me.
seriously invested in?
Most of the stuff that I really loved is stuff that isn't going to get remade, if at least not for another 5 to 10 years. And when it does, then I will be the one, eschewing everything that's going on.
Mary, what about you? Is there a franchise you're really invested in?
Just Twilight. I think
Oh
that's
my
it.
God.
Yes, as
I think
Y2K as
that's it.
possible. Wait, Carter, what about you? What's a franchise you're invested in?
Franchise. I liked I like Dexter, but I know we already talked about that last time. I don't really watch anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean,
can't
Dexter's
think
a fair example, given that the actual remake that they did this year wasn't that bad.
Oh, I like Insidious. The Conjuring, all that stuff.
I don't know what that is.
Based off Ed and Lorraine Warren.
They were
Their stuff.
horror films.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Am I alone in this?
I thought those
The
were
Dresden Files. That was the name of the book series that I was trying to remember off the top of my head. It is a horrible Friday, because I couldn't remember that for the life of me, and I've read the books like multiple
Well, then
times.
it doesn't. That means you're not invested.
He's
in
not
them as much
invested.
as-
So, would you guys? I know you probably just said this, and I have not been. It's already left my brain.
How about this? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But even then, watching the Michael Bay
That's
movies,
one.
I don't really care. Like, it's totally for a different generation, and that doesn't really bother me. And it doesn't totally ruin the spirit of the source material. It does, but not in the same way that they're doing it to this.
I think with Tolkien and with George R.R. Martin, the universes they've created, they specifically want to redefine, because even though they're fake, like they're mythological, they are vaguely calling back to different periods in history, and rewriting history is what they're all about. And I guess in that Hamilton way, casting historical figures as modern day, like.
Is it Harry Turtledove who does those books that are like?
I know nobody named Harry
Turtledove?
Turtledove.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, but that's fun.
That cannot be
This is
a great
not a pen name.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google it while we sit here. But I
Harry
think
Turtledove.
Harry Turtledove, if I'm not wrong, is I don't know why I would associate that name with this concept, but there's an author who does these books where it's like it's historical fiction, so it's like set in the Civil War, but it's like what if time travelers brought back like heavy like machine guns to
But that's
whatever side, and it's like rethinking history through that context.
Yeah,
like, why
I don't mean
those
it
things
as like anything creative.
no, but for me, I mean, like, why don't those?
That's creative.
movies-
That's what you're speaking.
What
of
I'm
is
talking about
Insidious.
is that I mean,
I get
even to the comments that they've been making about House of the Dragon recently, where they want to represent the misogyny that has been prevalent throughout history, when you're representing a time period in a world that never existed.
That's what I'm saying. So what I think is more interesting is like recreating those kind of novels where they are literal conceptual fantasy,
Yeah.
like what if history was misaligned, and it's taking in some sci-fi or whatever. But I think they're trying to create a history that didn't exist and is
Thank
also
you.
not interesting to think about. Like they are ruining two concepts in one
man.
fell swoop.
And creating a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they, by the way, House of the Dragon got an early season 2 renewal. I knew that. I mean, there was no way that wasn't going to happen, but that did get an early renewal. And the reason why I brought it up earlier is because they basically said like how the show got the highest viewership of any new HBO series. And they use what I like to call weasel words, where you put a bunch of modifiers in there, and now it's suddenly this big.
Well,
Important.
it's making up new artificial milestones that don't actually matter.
There's a segment they do on John Boy Media. It's like you can follow baseball through John Boy Media, and they do like play breakdowns and stuff like that. And they have a series called Stats That Exist But Don't Matter, and it's exactly that type of thing.
What's a stat?
I can't think of one off.
This is the kind of statistics I'm into.
Yes,
I would be more interested in math. It was just like semi-useful, but also not useful statistics.
Yeah.
This isn't on the books, but I ate like 170 sticks of celery in one day once.
Well, there's
This
one.
is useful.
That's very useful.
Could be
It's
a
like
stat.
both useful and also not. I love it.
Right.
So
Also, why did you do that?
Supposed to be useful.
Why
I
did
was
you
trying to prove that I could do negative calories and I could lose 5 pounds.
Did it
by
work?
only eating celery. Yeah, kind of. It was very tiring. Celery is a natural sleep aid, apparently.
Oh, so you really needed your shock collar or shock whatever
they
it
didn't
is.
have those yet.
shock
so I was kinda
bracelets?
screwed.
What is it? Is the shock
What are they?
It's a
bracelet?
shock bracelet. So it's like, I'll show you afterwards.
All right. Great.
So there's not a whole lot of like I would say that the Lord of the Rings I don't know if I buy that the hype is not real, because I also have to be careful that I'm in my own bubble of where I get my news and information from. So all the stuff that I'm reading tends to be on the negative side because it's from people that are passionate about the lore and feel that what they're doing to Lord of the Rings is bad. But that's where I get my information from, and I can understand that I'm not checking out more mainstream regular sites all that often. And when I do, like if you look at a CBR or any of these other nerd sites that talk about it, it always just comes across as paid for written press. It's like 5 things people are looking forward to. Like no actual normal person makes a listicle unless they're paid to by a company.
It's the same astroturfed fanfare around all of the new Star Wars content. And I generally don't think that franchises or like intellectual property should be messed with after the creator is dead.
Yep.
And it's, I think, even worse if they're alive, but they've kind of just checked out and
George
sold
Lucas
it off.
George Lucas sold it off. $4 billion.
I don't like that. Feels slimy and it doesn't have good outcomes.
Yep. So he sold Star Wars for $4 billion, if I remember correctly, to Disney.
I think it's worth more.
It probably would have. I mean, not anymore. It's not worth that anymore. It's worth negative that now. But I just
I think
like
it's just disrespecting what you made and what it meant to people.
Yeah. Yep. And
Also, what was $4
undersell
billion
it like
when
that.
he sold it? Like
He-
in today's money, what is $4 billion?
That's
Fair
It was
point.
2010, so I believe 2010. I could be. Don't fact check me on that.
It's not massively off,
So,
but like
$5
we
billion?
could look up on
maybe
inflation
5, 6.
calculator.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, all right. Like, are you guys? Then I'll ask honestly: is anybody here, given that it's not super, like, do you have any interest in watching The Rings of Power?
No.
People were asking us to review it, but the main reason we said no is because it's a series.
Yeah.
If it were a movie, definitely I would be down to
We're going
review
to
it.
we're going to review Samaritan on Monday, which I'm very, very, very excited about. I started watching it before I started work today.
You gave it a 10-minute trial.
In the first,
Period.
at the very least, the intro with the it's like an animated intro that's really, really cool.
Okay.
And the reviews that I read from what I would consider more less thank you. Less like not the sites that I normally look at, the places that make more like general content are saying that it's like a very heartfelt superhero B movie, which
so
I'm
kind of like the opposite of what is it, Black Adam?
yeah. I would imagine it's more in the vein of like Unbreakable meets Shazam or something like that. We'll see.
I'd be down to review this. I have no interest in watching it at all on my own.
Yeah.
Just gonna put that one on the table. Same with the dragons thing, but that's because I never got into Game of Thrones really. You didn't either.
No, everyone was always. I tried. I gave it a shot. 2 episodes, they had like ice creatures walking through the woods. I'm like, no, it's not.
I think it's like my general threshold of like I didn't have access to the streaming service, and when you don't have that medium to get it, like it's easy to actually forget about it despite the pop culture hype. I would be down to review this or the Dragon one in the format of like we set up cameras to watch us watch the thing and just cut together like the best reactions that we have, like our faces as they're like, for me, it'll be the whole time being like, wait, what is this? Who is he?
Yeah.
And it's just like a 15-minute video. And instead of like discussing it at length, it's just you guys get to react to us reacting to this thing. I feel like that would be fun, but I don't think it's like, it's hard to review this long of a series.
So my final question is like, do you think this is one of those things that they can astroturf themselves into success? Can they
You
just
can't
by
fake-
brute force can they do this?
No, you can't fake like real like people really caring about something or like caring about a story. You can't fake that even on social media with bots. Like we saw that with Star Wars. There are tons of viral tweets that you can pay for.
Then you don't think that it's possible that there are a wealth of Tolkien fans who are just remember
The Tolkien fans don't want this and never asked for it and are, I think, disappointed with the outcome.
See, I'm not 100% sure that that's not just a subsect, right? That there aren't people that aren't aware of culture war elements or what Amazon's doing to this on purpose, who are just kind of like excited about a new project, right? And they're blissfully ignorant of what's actually being done to it.
It would be hard to gauge it off of the internet, you know? Because first you have to find the people who are engaged with new releases, which is not the majority.
Yeah.
So you will it down to that group, and then the group that are just purely normies, I mean, I don't know how they would feel about it, but generally I think you can't astroturf people caring about something. Like,
also,
especially if it's an established franchise that people loved. People loved the books before the movies ever, and then
Oh my God.
Every time, right?
like you would have no reason to believe that the movies would do it justice.
yeah,
And it's a surprise and a happy accident that they did, in my opinion.
and if anything, thank you.
Thank you.
$1 billion is very hard to like make your money back on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like maybe you cut that in half and you spend $500 million. Even that's excessive to me for 8 episodes, but.
It's weird because they're not like movies where like once you have a movie release, you kind of have the set budget and you know what you have to make back on because it's entangled in the rest of the catalog.
Yeah.
Like if this makes people sign up for their service and start using it more regularly, like maybe the $1 billion investment can be offset by the fact that people are then watching get hooked on the rest of their content.
Yeah.
I just think that's too much.
Yeah. It's a lot
I'd
of
like
money.
them to learn the hard way that you can't just take an established IP and the credibility of like being Amazon
And there will be none of the magic
and run with it.
There will be none of the magic that Peter Jackson brought into it through his care for storytelling, through his even just the lack of what I'm imagining, having not seen it yet. There won't be the practical effects that were there in the original that made it so interesting. So we'll see where it goes. Let's do super chats. Let's on
Stephen Cohn
Casual Friday.
said
I like Haphazard Friday. Sorry.
that song was fire, Carter. Great
thank
job,
you.
all. Claps.
How do you feel? Are you
How-
very tired?
Oh yeah, can you tell?
just a little bit.
I mean, you told us before the show that you didn't sleep for 2-3 days.
I mean, that was a stretch. I've
believe
gotten
it.
sleep. You know, it's just been like 4 or 3 hours.
I stayed up with Carter.
Yeah, Brett was
hung
there
out
last night.
till midnight.
We pushed the button with Tim together at 12:01.
You can just have
That's
your
so
shock
fun.
bracelet timed for
Push the
12.
button.
Yeah, it was.
And the
fun.
work's like not over for you, right? Like,
Oh,
you
no.
still have, like, a ton to
No.
do.
Just getting started. Which, by the way, if y'all want to participate in this, we need to get that song charting.
Thank you.
We'll talk about it later, but
Yeah.
definitely check it out.
Yes.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, Carter, phenomenal work on the new song.
2 exclamation
you.
marks.
Thank you.
Too, yeah.
Has your mom texted you?
Yes.
Like,
Are they proud of you?
Yeah.
That's sweet.
He's like, no. Like, is there
know.
like another answer to that?
I like
no,
his
they're not
response.
proud
Like,
of me.
yeah. Why would you even doubt that?
June Wong said, I'll be burying Kitty today. She was a loving companion all her life.
Oh.
I was only able to pay her vet bills before I got my day job back due to the kindness of a certain YouTuber. Kitty will be reunited with her sister Kat, who passed 18 years ago.
I am so sorry for
sorry.
your loss.
That's actually heartbreaking.
That is very heartbreaking. I am very sorry for your loss.
Yeah, me too.
Caper2X said, congrats, Carter, as designated adult in the room. Did we
Designated
designate him as
adult?
the adult in the room?
I think I get to be designated.
I think that's
Yeah,
that's
if we're
got to be
going by-
Brett.
I'm
I am-
questioning
I am
all
both-
of you.
oldest and host, therefore I am
Or-
designated adult.
Yeah, why
Or
would
I
be
can be the designated
No.
adult in the room.
No,
because
I think I'm the
it's like
designated
it's like
adult.
funny because I'm like younger.
Get it? Because
Yeah.
I'm not the adult.
Maybe since I'm the only one not wanting this title, I get it.
Oh, that's a true mark of adulthood.
That's when we started the show, I kept saying I didn't want to do it because I didn't want the responsibility of hosting a show. And they're like, that's why you're perfect for it. I'm like, that's a horrible reasoning, but okay.
There are a lot of reasons you were good for this, but there were also more than one reason why you were resistant.
Yes.
Brett hates change.
Yes.
Okay, this one's funny. Shards of Narsil said, Carter, don't shop with Mary. You may not return.
Well, I know something that won't get returned, and that's the cart. That won't get returned.
Question mark?
The
It's like
cart.
a triple entendre.
I don't know. That's actually not funny, but I laughed at it.
I laughed.
I think it's
Cheeseburger
clever.
said, sweet headband, Carter Banks.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice.
It's a bandana.
Hobbit said, eat healthy, sleep 8 hours, don't care about Chet.
Leave Chet alone, Hobbit. We love you, but we love Chet too.
The thing is, isn't Chet's response to that like, if you don't care about Chet, then
Good.
fine?
Yeah.
Wait, did he even specify an hour amount of sleep?
Hey,
No.
Chet.
Did he?
He doesn't sleep that much.
He doesn't.
He seems to go to bed at around like sometime after midnight and wake up at 4 a.m.
Yep.
At least
4
that was
a.m..
his routine when he
Well,
was
I
in
guess
Greece.
if you could fall asleep on a dime and be in like a REM cycle, I could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I get about my sleep goes from like 4 to 6 hours, but when it's 4, it's I notice it more. Like
Right.
I have to catch as Chet would say, the 20-minute power nap on my couch.
I can't take a nap during the day. Or
I can't
won't wake up.
either. No, I want to.
Yeah.
I'm like I think it's like cumulative sleep person. So like I can go for like nights where I'm not sleeping that much, but I will pay for it and have to make it up
Yeah.
at some point.
Right.
Darth Doza said, invest time in The Expanse.
Yep. I'm also I'm going to finally
this
do right by Dane and watch Peaky Blinders, which I've just been putting off.
I've been meaning to watch that too.
I've been putting it off.
But also he wants you to watch all of Survivor.
That will never
so-
happen in the history. I will actually go out of my way to not watch Survivor. Like I could walk by a room where Survivor's on TV, and I will
You'll do a
walk
lot to
the
spite
long
Dane.
way around so that I don't have to see Survivor.
Hobbit said, I enjoy the Dresden Files. Ready for a reread.
Yep. The TV show, it's really funny. It starred Paul Blackthorne, who's a fantastic actor, and the show is just it was bad.
Oh. No Name said, the greatest show ever made is Netflix's Dark.
I've never seen Dark.
I've never seen Dark.
I have not either.
That's also like a Netflix show being the greatest
Well, I mean,
TV ever made.
They might be grading on a curve. If it's
Nothing
Netflix.
on Netflix can be the best TV.
Nothing they made.
Nothing, yeah.
I feel like sometimes
original.
Netflix will have a series come out and it'll be like 1-2 strong episodes, falls apart immediately.
No, yeah, a lot of it is like
Yeah.
they took a lot of time to figure out how to actually make series, like 6 to 8 episode series, when all of Hollywood had been used to writing 22 episode seasons. So they had to figure out how to do the new model, and there's a lot of rough.
It's very globalist.
All of the Netflix show, all of the Netflix, thank you. All of the Netflix like Marvel shows when they came out were all like 13 episodes, and they never needed to be more than 8. There was all these episodes that I didn't care because I love overblown seasons. That was fine, but you could tell that there was like filler episodes in there that people hated. And then when they released The Defenders, which is like the TV version of the Avengers, it's a different group of people, that was only 8 episodes, even though there's more people and arguably more stories to tell. It was like, was this done on purpose, or am I taking crazy pills here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Haunting on Hill House from Netflix.
What is it?
Haunting on Hill.
Are you like a spooky guy? You like a
yes.
lot of horror stuff?
I mean, I like clever, makes you think, kind of thrilling stuff. That's
I don't
also
think
terrifying.
Netflix is incapable of making good shows.
Right.
Like
They
they
wa-
accidentally do well sometimes.
Did you watch Midnight Mass?
No.
I've heard good things about Midnight Mass.
Is that a show or
That's
a movie?
a movie, I believe. Or no, it might be a show, but it is on Netflix. Also, they made the movie Hustle with Adam Sandler, which is very, 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 very good. Everyone should go watch that.
Real Felony said, Wheel of Time, Amazon butchered that too.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's okay. The Amazon thing is interesting because when they try to do stuff that is culturally relevant, they butcher it because it gets jam packed with modern identity politics and stupid stuff. But when they do stuff that, thank you,
Jesus.
thank you.
Oh my God.
How are you both so shocked by this?
Are we
just
just
extremely
the horns
desensitized,
just
or
went
is
off.
this like
I feel
actually
particularly
a
guilty
huge
about this.
That was a
sensory
pretty-
experience?
That was like the whole 5-minute like wait period though. Like that was not an instant thing once we got the thing. That
Oh,
was like-
okay.
And you guys have the I don't know. I have like
We
been
can
here
see
enough
it.
to no longer
Well,
be
so,
shocked, but you guys do have the
Can
thing.
you explain what? So the money shoots out, and then there's like horns that go
and
off
then the money shoots out.
incrementally. Like, what does it mean when the horns go off? Is that a crisis party?
Yeah, that's a crisis
Okay.
party.
And the lights are the crisis party.
So what is the other stuff that has no lights?
That's
guns?
just that's,
all
that's
the
when somebody is
Oh.
engaged with us, my friend.
Carter doesn't even
Sorry.
know the system.
It's okay. You don't need to know.
I wanna-
He's
I wanna
not
finish-
sleeping. It's fine.
The sleep thing.
I do want to finish my thought, which is that when Amazon has to do stuff that is culturally relevant, which is stuff where they find that there is ground to be made, in the culture war, which is like your Wheels of Time, your Lord of the Rings, anything like that that is seen as like important. All of those things get butchered and ruined with modern identity politics. They make something like Reacher or The Terminal List, and it gets even their Jack Ryan show wasn't off. The second season was awful, but the first season was pretty good with John Krasinski's not awful in that show, but the second season's pretty bad. When they do shows like that, which are kind of more niche, they seem to do fine.
Well, I think part of it is like when you take established canon content and try to contort it to fit a message that you really want
exactly.
to see, as opposed to writing like original, well-scripted, artistic content that has the message that you're interested in. It does badly because you are converting something from its pure form to a warped form that it's not really meant to convey. You shouldn't insert messages in the thing that already have like thematic plot points. That's why I think with like Jack Reacher, like if they didn't do that, if they didn't add like ideological agenda to it, it stayed more true to its pure form and is more likely to succeed.
But that's what I'm saying. But the reason it's allowed to do that is because they don't see it as culturally relevant as the ground that they're going to make on Wheels of Time, and Lord of the Rings, because they feel that those have larger market caps with younger, more impressionable people. The people watching Reacher and the people watching Jack Ryan and the people watching The Terminal List are already set in their ways, older, and a specific demographic. They don't see that as beneficial to change.
But I think it's part of like don't cannibalize things that we already have or content that's already created, or because if you really want to convey a message, you have to think more creatively about how you would present it. You can't just mold something into what you want it to be, especially when it's already established. Like, yes, they are trying to draw an audience that would have already been interested in Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones or whatever it is, but like they are losing their messaging. If the messaging is the priority, invest in screenwriters and producers that have the talent and have the artistic eye to be able to present that. They'll never do it, but I feel like I can't let the point go.
Yep. Well, we'll make that point every time, and every time I will I'll be like, I'm not.
We're just screaming into the void. It doesn't matter.
I don't care. I'm doing
It's
it
a void
anyways.
of awesome people who are listening, so the void is fine.
Right.
I hope one of them maybe is in a writer's room somewhere.
I feel like there's a bunch of writers trapped in writers' rooms that are like, let us write our own thing, and Amazon is like, no, adapt this.
And then the door locks behind them.
But it must be hard if you're like working for a major studio like Amazon has become. Like they have the money, and if you want to get the chops and sort of get your name out there and stuff like that, like you have to do this kind of stuff. Hopefully, with the shot of maybe one day producing your own thing.
Okay, I thought of it's not a franchise, but there's a movie I don't want them to ruin. There's a classic 1986 BMX biking movie called Rad. If they remake Rad and they ruin the movie Rad, I will boycott. I will hold a picket sign outside of Amazon or whoever makes it.
That's the final straw for Brett.
That's you better not ruin my biking movie. Crew Jones is not allowed to be race or gender swapped. And Lori Loughlin has to be in it, even though she's like 40 years older now.
And she's in prison, or she's out of prison?
No, she's out of prison
she's
now.
not in prison
She could totally do it
She
now.
was there for a minute.
But
Let's
it was
not fool ourselves.
But it was made in Canada, so I don't know if she's allowed to internationally travel now.
Yeah.
She might get an exemption.
Tried to remake Forrest Gump or something like that.
No, there's an Indian version of it that came out this year that's apparently really, really good.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like that might be a little bit different. It's like when we
it's
stole The
not.
Office from England and
It's
made
not
it
the
our
same
own
thing.
Right.
That's not us remaking it.
Yeah.
That's another culture. I mean, we take shows all the time.
So it was like a Bollywood?
I haven't
That's
seen it.
amazing.
Was that mine or yours?
I think that was yours.
Okay.
Here, I'll throw some
Caper2X said Harry Turtledove and alternate history, Hannah Claire. And I love you for knowing him. You are thinking of Guns of the South. Someone gave AK-47s to General Lee.
I'm telling you guys, this is a thing.
Oh my goodness. Nathan Koss
turtle.
said.
I feel like I should give credit to my older brother as who introduced me to this franchise or series.
Nathan Koss said my favorite franchise was Subway until
Yeah, I saw that one.
All right, that's not exactly what we meant.
He's like, wait, now is he referring to Jared or is he referring to Jussie Smollett? I have no idea.
I mean, I don't feel like
Yeah, that's a
Subway
good
was
question.
responsible for
You
Justin
know.
Smollett. They were inadvertently like brought into that. Their advertising
Guilty
team is
by
like, we don't know what
association,
to
yeah.
do here.
Wait, did they stand with Jussie Smollett?
They gave him like a lifetime of free
Stand with
footlongs,
you,
and then they were
Jussie.
like, just kidding.
They released the security footage. He actually was there at 3 a.m. Oh my God.
Strider said, as a Lord of the Rings nerd, I'm excited but nervous for it.
That means that you are likely not as far along in your like journey of getting jaded by Hollywood, because most people that are passionate about any franchise now just see anything that gets remade and get weary instantly and say, how are they going to find a way to ruin this?
False God Dark Soul said, Hannah Care is Self-Claire. SBG for life. What is SBG?
I think that's Sweet Baby Gang
What? Sweet Baby Gang.
by Matt
For Matt
Walsh.
Walsh. Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Interesting.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
that has
think
to do
so.
with
I'm glad that
Hannah
you're
Claire.
here.
Yeah.
person.
Or self-care.
If you
Or
could
self-Claire.
super chat again and clarify, I would appreciate that.
Matt-
Self-Claire.
Yeah, I'd hate
Matt
to be wrong.
Gingel. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your last name. Said, if you like the Dresden Files, check out Jim's other series, The Codex Alira, written based on... Thank you.
Oh my god.
2.
Thank you.
We
guys.
love you guys.
Okay,
Written
Carter.
based on a challenge to combine the Lost Roman Legion and Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's a good
wow.
recommendation. Do you find these lights relaxing or do you find them stressful?
Now that I've undergone one crisis party, I love them now.
Let's read 2 more.
get really
and then,
into them.
And then
Right.
we'll save the rest
Okay.
for further down.
Cool if we turned all the lights
Okay.
off except for the crisis party.
When we do movie
Thank you.
when we do movie reviews, we dim the
With some
overhead
ambient
lights.
Nice.
Yeah.
I really want to do a review where we all just like the camera is set up to watch us and our amazing video editors put together clips of like our reactions. So they can be like, ultimately, as you can see, the group was not a fan.
We gotta do that
Right.
bonus content.
Not a fan.
That BC.
Darth Doza said they might not be able to fake it, but they sure are going to try. And Bad App,
You're not reading.
I'm not.
I read
reading.
Bad Apps.
All right.
I know you read it.
Guys, we are going to move on, and we will get back to the super chats after we get through the beautifully this is a dumpster fire of Gabby Hannah.
Yeah,
Do you want to tell us about this, Mary?
I almost lost my mind researching this topic today, and then entered the same world as Gabby Hannah. Gabby Hannah is a YouTuber, for those of you who don't know. Hannah Claire knew. I guess nobody else had ever heard of her.
Wasn't familiar to me.
I guess
They're
I'm
older
somewhat of a connoisseur.
I think they're older
Of
than us,
YouTube
and
drama.
like part of it is like the YouTube
my
drama vlog squad like thing really became like
She was part of the OG vlog squad.
like that
and
kind of
then
like content on YouTube developed. I think when you were probably more interested in it than like
she was friends
these
with David Dobrik, and he kind of like dumped her as a friend.
Aw.
She's kind of been around for a long time. She started on Vine, then she was on YouTube going by The Gabby Show, and now she's kind of like veered into doing music. A lot of people have made fun of her for a long time just because she has kind of an erratic personality. That's much different than what's going on right now.
Should we play the first clip, the first one you sent me?
Yeah, there's some worrying content being posted.
Am I looking
on
at the right-
TikTok.
I've taught
this
you
one?
this before, kids. Let me teach you again.
Yeah.
Gabby Hannah posted a video about the psychology of YouTube.
She's talking in the first
explains
person.
how
Just her.
the
Is
In the,
Pavlock
in the
third
third
person?
person.
Wait.
Daddy's here.
she has. I didn't realize this because she has like had blonde hair for a while. She's undergone
She's
some
done a
changes
lot to her hair.
She has these like bugs on her neck tattooed, and I keep seeing it stitched together where she'll be like, the carpenter bee is for like working independently, and people will like cut to their own dumb tattoos and be like, Charizard is because I'm hot, like all this stuff. I didn't realize that was what she looks like now.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep playing.
Pavlovian response of animals with pleasure and reward. It's classical conditioning, right? And he literally, Father Time, TikTok, did that to us with social media because it's funny. And because he was studying.
She's not filming
Because
herself.
genius
Somebody else is filming her.
is a
Are you
man of
sure?
science.
No, you can zoom like that on
Obviously.
TikTok.
I hate when people do that.
Of course
You
you
guys
would.
just
That was
do
She's
so
doing
much
it.
better
She's doing it in post.
than the person.
No, you can do that on
with your
TikTok.
fingers.
She's holding a thing down going,
That's even
Why
worse.
are you
Yeah,
so upset?
She doesn't
about
even
it?
film it with like a third-party app.
I love that I'm like teaching you
Such a
about
god.
the
TikTok.
like mechanics of TikTok.
We all know why you're so upset about the existence
annoying.
of God. You were all hoping that you could just trash your home and abuse each other.
Do we think she's high or
And
like
then
what's
if
the deal?
you followed these little rules and rituals that were literally created, let me tell you what the current masses are. White men were watching women of color do very natural things with their healing powers. They tried to copy it and they looked dumb. You want to know what a baptism is? A bath. St. John the Baptist was giving baby Jesus baths because he stepped in as the father when
St. John the Baptist, who was in the womb at the same time as Jesus.
Also, like she's equating the word like B-A-P Baptist with bath. Like, girl, I don't think you're getting
don't
this.
even try to look at it from the perspective of like making it make sense, because it's not going
Yeah.
to.
Literally, I was going to ask you the question, Mary. Can you make it make sense?
Can you show another one maybe
Steel Man
so we
this?
can get a full scope of like
Let us pray. Our Father, who
a lot of
art
it is religious themed
in heaven.
which
Going through
delusions
Holy
tend to
is
be.
your name. Your kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
What she's zooming in on this
Give us
flower?
this day our daily bread. Are everybody's basic needs met?
Oh, UBI. Okay, perfect.
And forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass
Castle
against
doctrine,
us, because
perfect.
we are all one. For
She's
the
like
kingdom,
making up parts of this.
When did this
prayer.
go up? Is she
power,
okay?
This is all
the
in the past
glory
like
are yours
48
now
hours.
and forever. World without end.
What does it mean?
The thing is, guys, it doesn't mean anything. A lot of people
Resist the temptation to give it meaning.
Yeah, like I feel bad that a lot of people are making fun of her in the comments and kind of memeing her complete mental unraveling.
Is that what
that
this is? She having a psychotic
I think
breakdown?
she is.
Or is she like so high she doesn't know what she's saying?
She has a history of mental illness and has talked about
man.
having bipolar in the past.
So you think she's like publicly broadcasting a psychotic
I think
break?
she is
Oh,
like
man.
publicizing, yeah, her psychotic break, her manic episode, whatever you want to call it. She's not seeking help, obviously. She's just kind of unraveling and posting all of these videos from her house to millions of followers who are mocking her. Some of them are genuinely concerned but misguided about what to do with
Well,
that.
there are people that care because people called
Yeah.
the cops and there was a wellness check done on her. to
Yeah,
make sure
people
that
Did
she
she
was
call
live
okay.
stream that?
the LA police, and they before this wellness check happened, she appeared to have invited a complete stranger into her house who started live streaming inside of her house to like 17,000 people. He went by the name Nicholas. No idea who he is.
What did she
Yeah.
say about it? She was like, "This is this guy
And
I
she
just
like
met in my house."
posted TikToks featuring this random man, and people were worried about her safety, obviously, so they started calling the LAPD and they sent a psych evaluation team to her house. I don't know how exactly it went. She's recalling how it went as like she said she got cuffed and that they were making fun of her, that they were forcing her
But
to do all of
she's
these
already
strange things. But
paranoid, and
I
out
don't
of-
know if any
yeah.
of that is true. So
It's very hard
they
to discern.
determined that she wasn't a threat to herself or others, and they left her to her own devices, which is all they can do as law enforcement. And I think some people assumed a wellness check does more than what it actually does.
No.
They don't have the power, and they're not in the position to offer her psychological help.
Nope.
They're just
Right.
there to make sure that she's not in any danger and no one else is in any danger
Well,
around
that's
her.
why we need social workers
she even
and
answers
not
the door.
police officers.
Well, what she needs is somebody in her personal life
to
to
help.
help her.
Yep.
Other
But
than Nicholas?
I don't know why that hasn't happened yet.
That
Come
seems
on,
to be,
Nicholas,
we're
get
going
it
to talk about
together.
that on Monday when we talk about what's her name, Alexa Nicholas. It
Yeah.
seems like a big problem with most of this stuff is people not having anyone in their lives to help them.
And they've been isolated from their family and friends for whatever reason, whether it was their choice or not.
And that's from a society that's becoming more insular. I feel that people are becoming more wrapped up in their phones and their digital lives, and they're living far less in the real world with real people. And family isn't as important as it used to be a lot of the time. And like, so when things like this happen, it's very easy to dismiss all those things. For instance, when you're young, but when you're older, you need people to help you, right? These are people that aren't there. They're not even, they don't need to be older. They just need help because right now they're struggling. And the way our culture has now been set up and changed, they don't have that structure anymore.
I think it is one of the weird aspects of modern cultures, and really this started in like the 1970s, I want to say, when more young adults started living outside their parents' home. Like, you move into an apartment. For a long time, it was, for in human history, super normal to, like, even if you were, like, until you were married, you lived with your family, because, like, the idea of maintaining your own household, like, it was just much more work. And
some cultures it still is.
Some cultures it still is.
When I was in Spain, there was a town that we were in. They were like they like live at home till like they're 27, and they immediately begin their career. Like it was just set up far different than it is here.
It's more familially oriented. It's more community oriented. So. She's like, I think in her 30s, and she's
31.
She's been probably been living in LA for a long time. But whenever I hear like these young, like 18, 19, 20-year-old YouTubers being like, I'm moving to LA, and I feel this way about college.
That's kind of who
too.
she once was.
Yeah, well, like, just like when young college or young like 18-year-olds go off to college or move out of their parents' house, like, it is, it is actively a risk. It's not that you shouldn't do it, but like, you are suddenly in a place where you don't know what your support system is like. Even if you're not having like a mental break, if you slip in your house and break your arm and you live alone, like, that is a danger. We worry about it with older people because the risk of recovery is harder.
Yeah, but the difference here is that usually it's not in front of millions of people, and
in some ways it's
like
stranger.
That's the aspect I wanted to highlight in it, because I don't know what in her mind is her motivation for publicizing it. And I mentioned that like the commenters are oblivious to the very likely possibility that she is deeply invested in their response to her behavior.
What I was going to say is
paying very close attention to how the comments react.
What I was going to say is like, so she is someone who's been on her own for a long time, that's fine. When she's undergoing an issue, because she has this outward performative nature, like, any calls for help are obviously warped, because is she doing it for the attention? Is she doing it because she'll know people will continuously click back on her story? Like, if she hasn't really built a safe support system, like a sturdy support system of people who honestly know her, then it's hard to tell what part of this is like a mental crisis versus what part of this is her just sort of taking on a new aspect of performance because that's part of her career.
And as as people make more of a living on social media, where the line between real person and performer gets far more blurred than I think people want to admit.
I just saw in Hill, I don't know who did the poll, but there's this headline from the Hill that says like 1 in 4 people under the age of 18, their plan is to become a social media influencer. Like, that is what, like, can you imagine? But I know
it's interesting because Gabby Hannah doesn't fit that bill. She went to college. She has degrees in, I believe, psychology, economics, other things since then.
But
and
when she was going to college, it wasn't the career path.
And then, she kind of just fell into the career path on Vine because that was what was popping at the time. But, like, she has the foundation to have a normal career and a normal life if she so chose. And now she's just kind of, like, alone in this weird city around a bunch of weird people who are isolated from all of that, like, normalcy.
Can you manufacture this type of career? Like, I think about like kids who become Olympic athletes, right? And their parents pour their heart, souls, and money into training a kid to be able to, whether it's a pro athlete or an Olympic athlete, and they spend hundreds of $1,000s to get that kid to that point to be able to perform at that level. I'm thinking if kids are like, I want to grow up to be an influencer. Can you buy your way into that? or is that like one of the most fool's errands ever? Because it's like you can't fake.
Olivia Jade kind of did that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's
Were
like
you about to mention Olivia Jade?
I was thinking the Kardashians or like Bella and Gigi Hadid.
Yeah,
whose mom,
but
like,
I think even the Kardashians deserve some credit because they kind of built the template for the social media influencer.
Right.
And Olivia Jade just straight up had it bought for her.
yeah.
So it can be
and
bought
it's like if they have
through
if,
connections.
if you already
Yeah.
have some like who's Travis Barker's daughter who we were talking about the other day.
Alabama.
Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
might
Who
know
names
who
their
she
kid?
is.
Is
Travis Barker does.
Is Alabama a name that for other people that I was not aware of? Are there other people named Alabama?
I
I've never
think there
heard
probably
of them.
are.
Okay.
What state would you guys name your kids after? Just out of curiosity.
Maine.
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 Literally none of them.
Literally none
I've
of them.
always liked
Like,
Virginia.
yeah, Virginia I think is like, or like
I mean, yeah, Virginia's cute.
That's cheating because that's like an actual
How about
name.
Mary? Because Maryland.
Maryland.
ah.
Maryland.
Does that work?
Yeah.
No.
You're,
I've heard people name their kid Alaska before.
Yes. I
don't
know.
know if I like that.
I have a friend who named his kid Alaska.
I'm trying to think of like what are like
But why?
I thought of asking that, but
Is it-
decided against
Oh,
it.
Nevada. I've known someone named Nevada.
Rhode
before.
Island.
But Road, people do use that. I guess because it's kind of like a last name.
Oh.
I don't know.
Or if you're Kanye, you have a kid named Chicago.
I'm just looking for like a kid whose name is Vermont. They're like, we just want to like tell the Ben and Jerry's guys that we think they're good.
Georgia. That's a name.
Yeah,
So
Georgia's
that's an
a name.
actual.
So you can buy your way into social
Carter's
media
taking
fame.
this, like,
I feel like who you know is
realistically.
better
Too
for that
invested.
than necessarily pumping money into it.
That's
it's
why the
about
Vlog
developing-
Squad was a thing. It's
Yeah.
because, I mean, they were almost made fun of for it, but everyone in the Vlog Squad, except for David Dobrik, was seen as like the clout chasers.
Yeah.
Who would do anything for views and do anything for David Dobrik's approval. And then that kind of spiraled out of control.
I just want to posit that like that whole time period, the Vlog Squad, David Dobrik, and like these early days of YouTube gave way to like the TikTok influencers and the content houses that you hear about now. Like they were basically the beta test for a model that is still
Yeah.
employed. Like get people who want to become famous and have them.
And now there are
be in close
companies
proximity.
crafting that for them, and it's not organic. I don't know if it can be as successful.
Probably
that way.
not, but it is like an ode to this. Like this is the
Yes.
part of YouTube that Gabby Hannah came from and gave way to. And so in some ways, like, is she a model for like what happens to these people whose lives are built around being fame and sustaining attention and fame? Like, do you put yourself in a position where having a mental breakdown and broadcasting yourself, it might be a bonus to your career?
I mean, is it kind of like starting over, like pressing the reset
I have no
button?
idea.
Maybe that's what she feels she's doing deep down. I have no idea.
I'm always surprised by the amount of actors. It's not really off the topic, but who have degrees in other fields, but just fall into acting, and they just maybe like knowing you have that backup plan makes it easier for you to commit to what you're doing.
I think this is the false flag of college in the United States. Like, if you want to be an actor, take acting classes, perform a lot. Like, going to pay
Well,
for a
most of them
degree in
did
acting.
theater as well, but
Right,
they just
right. But,
they
like-
found that performing was something that spoke to them while also getting another degree.
See, I think that, like, we still think degrees are guaranteed to another field. Like, you mentioned, like, she might have a degree in economics, right? And so, theoretically, she could go work in economics. But really, if she applies for a job with any economic capacity, she doesn't have, as far as I know,
she doesn't have the experience.
any experience.
Yeah.
Experience is actually what people want and employ you based off of. Like, we
Right.
are well past the point.
Yeah.
And I went to college, and I feel like I can commit to saying this. Like, we are past the point where a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree guarantees you a better salary and a better job and
Well,
higher
maybe not that
career
it
prospects.
guarantees it, but that it makes them feel more secure in trying something else because they're under the illusion, whether it's
Yeah.
real or not, that they can go back to that.
I
if
just
they
think it's
wanted
important to emphasize that it is
Yeah.
an illusion at this point.
For Gabby Hannah, I think as an aspiring musician, she kind of hasn't found the success she was hoping for that some influencers have reached. And that's part of what has driven her down to this point that it's looking like rock bottom for her, sadly. And it's interesting. Another aspect I wanted to highlight from this, because Brett, you've mentioned this in the past, how people can kind of get away with anything if they're articulate enough. She, in some of these videos, she seems very calm and kind of well-spoken while making statements that are so outlandish and impossible to follow.
A lot of the comments basically said as such. They said,
They're
"Is
like,
it weird that she
why
makes
can I
sense?"
kind of understand
Yeah.
what she's saying? It's like, exactly that you mentioned before.
You can intellectualize your way into just about any statement.
Like if you have the verbal ability,
Yes.
even though you're in the middle of like hallucinating and you're like living in a complete delusion.
Yeah.
Right.
People will believe that you're on to something.
Some of the most articulate things that I've read are the most insane statements about gender ideology. They can phrase it in a way that makes perfect sense, but
And it's also weird that like some of that ideological stuff is like infesting her delusions.
Yeah.
You can
Right.
tell like her language is reflexively going back to that.
to me, it speaks like I think that the reason that the people who, at least when I think about the people who ideologically manage to speak on something that makes little sense in the real world but makes sense on paper, it's because they're drawing from college experience, right? So they learn to intellectualize this through their education, so it comes out as if they're writing a paper for school when really
you become a better writer than you become a good thinker.
Well, I think also academia is littered with examples of like made up jargon that make you sound authoritative.
Yes,
Like
that-
it doesn't
yeah.
actually
Yep.
make sense. And so they come up with all sorts of phrases. Some of them make sense if you're really explaining a new concept, but some are just like phrases to make you sound like an expert so you're in the know. And in
then
some
you
ways,
won't question it because
That's like
well,
a
it's a word.
strain of schizophrenia in academia that like in a real case of delusion, you're seeing it play out where, you know, if someone is in the middle of a manic episode or like in psychosis, they make connections between things that are absolutely not
Yeah.
correlated at all. And it's kind of spreading out to the entire population.
And the
Yeah.
problem is you can't prove what they're saying necessarily wrong on paper, but you can in the real world, but you're not
Because you keep
communicating
it
don't
that.
believe
vague
in the real
enough,
world,
you
though.
word it
Yeah.
correctly, then it can't be
no,
disproven.
I think Carter's right. They don't believe in the
That's
real.
the whole problem with postmodernism and subjective reality. Not to get into that, but it's definitely
Get into that.
no.
I mean, that's kind of the nihilistic place that you're left when you see someone literally breaking down
Yep.
on the internet and like no one has any compassion for them. Basically, my ultimate point with this was just that the internet has no compassion. There's no place you
Nope.
can go where people will care. You have to have face-to-face interaction and real relationships.
How will you feel if like later comes out she staged this whole thing for attention? Do you think that like
I don't
I
even-
think that actually adds to your thesis. The
if
internet
she
has
is
no
that good
compassion.
at acting, then I hope she gets a career out of it.
I will say it was impressive to watch her like read a prayer and zoom in and out.
That was the
while on the
crazy.
film, unless she memorized it, which is equally impressive. Unless she was raised
I
Catholic.
mean, the Our Father is not that. A
Yeah,
lot
I
of,
know, but I
like,
mean-
A lot of people know it.
Yeah.
Our Father.
It's funny though that you didn't know the zooming thing was like
Brad's
a
gonna do it all.
mechanic of recording on TikTok.
When he's skating now, he's gonna start doing it all the time.
it's very advanced.
Let's
you,
just-
you can't learn that in film
You-
school.
you,
like, on
Adapts
Instagram
to
story,
it.
do a
That-
lot
it's
of
funny.
zooming.
Like I was talking
I
to somebody
don't.
that I
Do
was
I?
in
I
film
don't
school
know.
with the other day, and I was talking about like all these years of like making. We got from 4:3 video to 16:9 widescreen, and somehow it's 2022 and we're filming in freaking vertical video again. How did we get back here?
Yeah.
Let's do super chats. On that note,
On that note, Thousand Foot
yeah.
Deep End said at least the people making the Narnia movies stopped before ruining all the books. Each film got further from the source material. Voyage of the Dawn Treader was basically the book in name only. I thought the first few movies from the Chronicles of Narnia were all right, but I have been meaning to go back to them.
it would be hilarious for like a studio to. I want one of these production houses to create a studio, and they have to have one mandated rule: no adaptations, no remakes, original scripts only.
No spin-offs,
No
no reboots.
They have to make a separate, it's going to be like a shell company. They got to create a second company that they can then sell off the rights once they make the original movie to make the sequel and the spin-offs. But a studio to make a mandate for 5 years: no remakes, no adaptations, original scripts only.
Okay, what is it? Weak men make reboots.
Reboots,
make
sequel.
strong men make original IP.
Original IP leads to reboots.
Original IP. we can make it full circle.
We'll have to create that meme. I'll have to think about that more afterwards. We'll have to create that.
Caper2X said David Weber's Honor Harrington, the archetype female heroine, space opera at its best.
Okay.
Johnny Beck sent us a thumbs up.
Thank you, Johnny.
You. S Devil said, as someone who sells on eBay, I've noticed that you can typically find better deals there. Better than Amazon.
I have specific go-tos for, like, if it's new stuff, it's Amazon usually. But if I'm looking for, like, rare versions of hats, like I have certain hats that have, like, a lot of time they're ones that they only sell at, like, or not sell, but like they'll have like specific hats for, like, if you have like a baseball team in your city, they'll have hats that only go given out as free.
What was it you were looking for from like the set of Coach?
Oh, I got it. I got the hat. I got the hat and the sweater.
And was it a Letterman or something?
Yeah, a starter jacket.
Okay.
Coach, the TV show starter jacket from the Minnesota State Screaming Eagles. It's like I've already got all the real Minnesota sports teams. I need the fake Minnesota sports teams.
You're just like
the
doing a
Whalers.
lap back around.
Yeah, basically. So it's
The
like
Whalers are both real and fake, and that's why I love them.
But like on eBay, it's usually like if you're in Minnesota, right? They have like 5 to 10 games a year where they give out hats to the first 20,000 people that make it to the stadium that day. You then find those hats on eBay because you wouldn't be able to find it without being there at the game. So
Charles Fritz said Shia quit Wild's movie because of a lack of rehearsal time with Florence. She was not taking it seriously, and so he left of his own accord. There is even a video of Wild begging him to come back. I DM'd it to you on Instagram.
I have not seen the video
We
yet.
thought it was a situation where he was like, "You're not firing me. I quit."
Right.
No, I think it's like she pretended she fired him, and actually, in this time, he's not crazy. He's totally right.
And
Wow.
Charles, we are going to be talking much more about Shia on Monday.
We've got all the Shia.
I always
updates
admired Shia
coming
LaBeouf.
up.
to
Did
be
you see
honest.
Honey Boy? Any of you?
I have not.
I did not.
Or the Peanut Butter Falcon. I have not seen yet either.
Honey Boy is like intense and good. I would actually rewatch it.
I
It's like his autobiography. He like wrote
Yeah,
it while
it's
he was
like
in rehab.
He's a
Yeah.
fantastic actor. Has a
About
great
his
story
father?
too.
Yeah, it's about
Mainly about his father?
It's about like his relationship with his father while he was filming Even Stevens, and it's not
Wow.
like it's a little bit. There's some artistry to it, but like it's really intense and it's very interesting.
We're going to be talking about it more on Monday because he had the great interview that I've started, but I'm only about a quarter of the way through. With,
Well, I didn't know about this until we got a super chat about it. I forget from whom, but yeah, he did an interview with Bishop Barron. We're going to be talking about that and other things.
Who's from Minnesota? I did not know that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that either.
It said that he's located in Minnesota.
Bishop Barron?
I think so.
Because, I mean, the last time I checked, I don't keep up with him that much, but I thought he was the bishop of the Archdiocese of LA.
We'll have to double check. I saw this. I saw Minnesota in there. maybe
Pop culture.
Sorry.
we're eclectic here, guys. We're very eclectic. We may not be as well spoken as the people talking about gender ideology, but we're far more eclectic.
We don't make up words.
We don't make
most
up words.
of the time.
Well, you know.
I do.
We're effervescent.
I'm also
That's
bringing
that
back.
one's for you,
Professor
Dane.
Carter has spoken.
I'm also bringing back normality rather than normalcy.
Okay.
Normality needs to make a comeback.
I don't know where I
I want
stand
that on
yet.
like a t-shirt. Jessica, where's our pop culture crisis merch? Not
New normality. I want a
Right.
shirt that says "This is the new normality."
Waffles Sensei said, "Let me make it clear. None of the actual fan base of Lord of the Rings wants this, and they feel slighted by it. The people who want this could be easily differentiated as the difference between libertarians and lulbertarians. You know what I mean? I don't differentiate libertarians and lulbertarians. I think you're all the same.
No, Mary has very strong feelings on this. When we met, Mary's like, "Oh, you're a libertarian." I'm like, "No, I'm not certainly not in party affiliation. God no." But but yeah, you know, it is what it is.
Is the next one from Terrence Rice?
Yes.
Okay. Stayed up to watch the new song. Not my genre of music, but this was amazing. I'm an amateur beat maker, and you guys inspire me to keep pushing the culture. May our paths cross one day. Love you all.
Thank you, Terrence. It means a lot. Yeah, keep doing it.
What was your what would you consider to be the hardest part of making the song?
Any song or
Of
just
this song? Thank you.
Gee, doing all the little things that no one really understands, like why I'm doing. Like Tim would come in and I'd be like, I'd have like 3 mics set up and the fan off, and I'd wait for the most quiet time of the day, and then he'd come in and be like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's just recording like one acoustic chord 3 times so I can reverse it, chop it up, and then it's the stuff. It seems like it's you don't. It's the production curve is like with this kind of stuff. So the hardest part is like not having an example of what the hell I'm making.
That's interesting.
I think there's a strong argument to be made that one of the best parts of the arts, of any art, is the minutia, the details, which are almost impossible to explain to the people, even people in the field sometimes, because art is so subjective that maybe the greatest part of it is the minutia of creating it, which is intrinsically very personal, but also important to the outward representation of what you're making.
Right.
So that resonates with me heavily. A lot of times when we'd be making skating edits, I would have to grab shots that seemed to have no purpose in what we were making, because I was like, no, it's going to go 0.2 seconds here before this clip, and then I need to cut to this because this fits this color palette. And I like people are like, what are you talking about?
And sometimes it doesn't work out, and you actually did waste time, and that's the shitty thing.
Yep. All right.
Waffle Sensei said, Carter, I'm also a big fan of Insidious, Babadook, The Conjuring, etc. So with that being said, you need to watch Midnight Mass.
Yep, I've heard very good
things.
I
will absolutely watch that, Waffle Sensei. I saw your chat. I don't know about the Babadook, though. I couldn't get into that. I have seen that. The Conjuring's awesome. True story behind it, too.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like based on a true
it's
story or if it's
loosely based on true events.
Okay.
The real story is much scarier.
Very loosely.
No, it's not. It's not very loosely.
Would you name your kid Babadook, though? That's the real question.
Yeah, of course.
It's a hilarious name. I know it's a horror movie, but like,
I mean, I didn't
can't
know how
get
to
past
pronounce
that.
it correctly. Charles Fritz said, Jack Reacher on Amazon was phenomenally done. I've read every Reacher book.
Yes, Alan Ritchson should play he should be Jason Momoa now. He's like as big as Momoa and way more. What would you turn like? They described him in being the new Fast and the Furious. He's going to be androgynous. I'm like, of course. Why would you let him be? Cool?
It's time to cancel Fast and
Furious.
Exactly. There should not be. Sorry, I'm screaming.
The point of this is that
this is personal for you.
Alan Ritchson is a fantastic
I didn't even,
actor.
Feel that irritated about it until Brett graded me about it every single day. And that's why there's another Fast and the Furious.
Everyone go and watch Reacher. After you watch this episode, watch Samaritan and Reacher. They're both on Amazon Prime. I will be interested to know if anybody who's in the chat watches Samaritan over the weekend, what they thought of it, because we are definitely going to talk about it.
No Name said, Dark is not a Netflix show. It's a German show distributed by Netflix, translated in English. It's not a woke show. No diversity, bull, poop emojis. It's an amazing thriller.
It is interesting watching how people complain about our culture here, but then don't realize that we are naturally one of the most diverse places on the planet. And then you watch stuff that's made in other countries, and it's homogenous because the country is homogenous. That's how their population is.
Right.
And so then they hold it to the standards of our culture.
No, I don't think it's that. I think that they let it slip.
We're also fake standards. They want us to be over diverse.
They if anything, I think that they let it go if it's not an English made role, and they just it's like the thing at the Olympics.
Well, if it's German,
yeah. It was like the thing at the Olympics where it was like the Italian soccer team. They're like, why is the Italian soccer team so not diverse? And they're like, dude, leave them alone.
Well, they can't leave anything alone.
No, they cannot.
Javi J said, apropos to nothing, I love the production of the new song that was released. Carter is the musical Adonis we have always needed.
You should put that on a shirt, dog.
Hey,
I am
you.
the musical Adonis
I actually
we have always needed.
Just Googled what apropos meant, and it's a new word for me. So thank you,
Do you
Javi.
like it?
Are you going to use it? Are we going to title a song that?
That is a, with reference to or concerning. Somebody like, apropos to nothing, we should do this.
Yeah, it's great. Did you always see yourself doing this kind of work? Because, you've been in a band, you've toured, you've done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was really young, honestly, it's weird because the goalposts have changed so dramatically. All I wanted to do was, be able to play guitar and sing on a stage somewhere so I could call myself a musician. And then I got there and I'm like, well, I would like to make a living out of this. And then I got there and I'm like, it's not very lucrative, but I still love music and I still love producing stuff. So I never saw myself like here until 2020.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, that's where I want to go.
Is this song gonna get performed live at some point?
So I'm pushing for that. There is an acoustic version. I'm working on a piano version. Yes, it is going to be performed live
What about
eventually.
a theremin version?
Interesting.
Now
What
working
about
on
an
a yes.
acapella version?
Acapella version.
Let's do 2 more, and then we will move on to the next topic, and we will continue off from there, guys. Don't worry, we will be reading them all. We will be reading them all.
Dizwiz said, "Okay, Mary, I was wrong yesterday. Hannah Claire.
I think
Well, even when you correct yourself,
What?
you misspell her name.
There's
again.
no I in Hannah Claire there.
Yeah, there is.
No, they didn't put one in
They,
here.
they,
Oh.
they forgot the I, and they want to pretend that they're your real fan.
Is there a hyphen?
I'm
Is that
sorry.
supposed to be
I'm
there?
a
There
bigger
is
fan of Hannah Claire
not
than
a
you
hyphen.
I didn't
ever
think so.
will be.
Back at you, homie.
The most important part
And
here,
there's no hyphen, dude.
Dizwiz, she is not a hyphenator.
Yeah,
It's not
and
hyphenated.
I have sympathy for this. I thought there was a hyphen for like over a decade of my life, and then my dad just sort of one day very nonchalantly revealed to me there is
There's no
hyphen, and it actually has really messed up a lot of my paperwork.
Uh-oh.
So I might add the hyphen back in. Let me know what you guys
say.
think.
It was like
I
when
think
I-
I will because
I didn't know you could just add or take it away
you
willy
can
nilly.
the same way you like change your last name when you get married, right? Like you can ultimately. That's when I think I'm gonna do it. Like when I get married, I'm gonna just like go through all of it and change the whole thing. Because I think when people see my name as 2 words, they think it's a second name. Like there was a girl in my high school whose last name was Claire, spelled the same way, and our lockers were next to each other in alphabetical
Oh,
order.
no.
So people thought we were related, and this poor girl was like, no.
I would never want to be related to you.
Not you.
It was not a warm welcome, but
It's like when I found out that my dad's first and middle names were actually swapped. Like he swapped them because he had the same first name as his
Oh.
dad, and he wanted to change it, so he didn't want to be. So he just swapped them.
yeah, but I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate Mary defending me.
One more, and then we will move on.
Hobbit said, "Ruin Rad," and Brett stops parking his cart.
It will never happen because it's a cult classic biking movie from the 80s. But if they
And
did,
he's
it
too
would
attached to
never
returning his
happen.
cart.
okay,
anyway.
this is one of those movies that became such a cult classic that they do reenactments of the final race scene every year in the town that it was made in. They literally have like a festival for the movie. And the movie was at one point, I kid you not, considered so bad that, do you know who Talia Shire is?
No.
She played Rocky Balboa's wife in the Rocky movies. She was in that movie. She hated it so much that she bought the rights to it so it could never be re-released.
And what you doing with it now?
They re-released it. They finally got
How much do they pay her for that?
I have hopefully a lot. But I love that movie. Everyone should go watch Rad this weekend somehow.
They've got a lot to watch this weekend.
They do.
I have been saying for a while on Fridays we should have a like what you should watch this weekend.
I've
Like
been pushing for
Homework.
the ultimate Brett Dasovic top 100 films to watch before you die.
that would be
It would be.
funny.
It wouldn't be like a bunch of classics. It would be a bunch
No,
of.
that's
weird
why I
crap.
want it. I want
matter.
the weird stuff
Yeah.
that you
I know
that
it-
you'd put on that list.
like an 80s BMX biking movie.
Yeah.
I had no
and
idea.
Coyote Ugly
And
on the
Coyote
same
Ugly.
Coyote Ugly. What?
I love Coyote Ugly. It's one
Really?
of my favorite movies. of all
Not
time.
ranked in no particular
It
order,
is
just 100. Just
You are
give us
kidding.
100.
Hey, I like that
movies.
movie 13 going on 30. I think it's like
That's
really
such a good
It's a
movie.
chick flick
Guys,
for sure. But
this is an amazing concept. Please super chat in if you want us to do this professionally all the time.
I'm. Everyone should go watch Coyote Ugly this
Officially,
weekend too. All right.
Don't
we're
leave
moving
your
on.
house this weekend.
China tells Hollywood respect Chinese culture or get banned. They're not mincing words here.
Didn't we have this conversation the other day? Like when will Hollywood like I don't remember, but I remember saying like China doesn't need Hollywood anymore.
Hollywood
like,
needs
Hollywood
China,
needs
but
China.
yeah. Well, I have some examples to the contrary here that says a little bit different. But it says, in a rare occurrence, the Chinese Communist Party commented on the tenuous relationship between the Middle Kingdom and Hollywood. The party's propaganda department warned studio execs to respect Chinese culture and values or prepare to have their films banned from Chinese theaters.
Motion to officially change our marketing department to the propaganda,
Propaganda
department.
When
Can I get a
first read
second?
when I first read that, I was so backwards that I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. They just label it the propaganda department. But then I realized what they're worried about is American propaganda. It's not about their propaganda. It's about what they would consider our propaganda.
Yeah, it's sort of like the separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Like, which one are you trying to keep out of which?
So it says, as reported by Bloomberg, the Communist Party's Central Committee Publicity Department, also known as the Central Propaganda Department, released a statement through its Vice Minister, Sun Yeli. He said that we hope the equality of American films can continue to be improved upon on the basis of respecting our culture and customs and audience behaviors. We will import from whichever countries that make better films and films that are more suitable for the taste of the Chinese audiences.
It's weirdly meritocratic, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I can't say I don't respect where they're coming from, because we have this imperialist stance that we're like forcing things on them when they're like, well, actually you could just market things better for a global audience if you want global success and make global products.
Well, they want to both. That's where Hollywood's weird now. They want to be both globalist and make globalist productions while pushing uniquely Americanized views.
Well, really, I mean, they're trying to push Western values, or at least astroturf to Western values onto the rest of the world.
Thank you.
Artificially through media, and then
works great here. It's not working as great over there.
Yeah, and then if China has a problem with it, I have no idea whether this actually reflects the sensibilities of Chinese people.
And I also want to make a huge distinction here. The article header here says China tells Hollywood respect Chinese culture. That's not China.
Chinese
it's
government.
the government.
Yes,
the government is saying that, not necessarily the Chinese people.
But like, it's impossible to tell how much that actually reflects.
Hey,
what they are looking for out of movies.
I've got an idea. You could go up on there on WeChat and ask somebody.
Yeah, I can go infiltrate the WeChat conversations about the box office. I mean, maybe you can see from like what's successful in the box office in China. I know they keep certain movies out, so you never know. But
so Disney is getting like nothing released there in the last 7. So like. There hasn't been a Marvel movie released in China since 2019, since Avengers Endgame. And it seems like
because they weirdly shoehorn political messaging into it.
That doesn't need to be there.
Like when they added the Epoch Times,
that
Spider-Man. Weird Easter egg into I thought that was Doctor Strange.
Oh, what did I say? Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
They added that into Doctor Strange. It's not just the woke stuff, like the social stuff about like a gay kiss in Lightyear.
The
or whatever.
Epoch Times.
It's weird political stuff too that they're inserting just to be spiteful, and it's like, don't even sell it if you know that they're looking for things like that.
So here's the two examples that I will give for one argument, and then the example for the other one. So you have Joker. And you have Top Gun Maverick. Both made $1 billion without the market of China. Jurassic
Stories about straight white men, by the way.
Jurassic World Dominion made a crap ton of money. I don't remember if it made over $1 billion, but it had the help of the Chinese box office release. What am I going to believe? In all fairness, what do I think Hollywood is more capable of making on a regular basis? A movie that actually has cultural merit, like Joker and Top Gun Maverick, which are very, very important to the culture right now, or at least Joker was in 2019, and Top Gun Maverick certainly was this year. Important in the sense that they made a big impact on the people that went to see it. Or do I believe that they're going to churn out more stuff like Jurassic World Dominion? I lean towards Jurassic World Dominion. I don't think they're capable of recreating the magic of a Joker or a Top Gun Maverick on a regular basis.
And there's nothing offensive or, especially bad about Dominion.
No, I loved it.
Dominion was good.
I didn't love it. It was it was a bad movie that I had fun at. It was a bad movie that I had fun
at. It was whatever. And like people went to it because I believe there are no better options right now.
Yeah.
But like, that's not something, I think I said this at the time that we reviewed it, it's not going to last in the public consciousness.
Yeah. Also, it's weird that it's funny you mentioned Marvel with like the Epoch Times, because it's not just that. It's like Simu Liu is the star of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Chloe Zhao directed The Eternals. Both of them have spoke out against China, against the CCP in their past. Like Chloe Zhao did it because she, I don't remember if she escaped China, but her parents did, right? And Simu Liu's parents escaped from China to Canada. So they speak out about it, and then they wonder why the movie doesn't get released there. It was never, especially The Eternals, was never going to get released there when when a person is literally speaking out would be considered like a dissident, right? Like that's, it was never going to happen. So maybe it is more like weirdly political and less to do with.
It's kind of interesting how McCarthyism has reversed
Yeah.
in Hollywood, where there used to be this Red Scare in Hollywood. I know there are cultural Marxists in Hollywood, but if they're trying to insert anti-CCP messaging into movies that they're selling to China,
Yeah. I'm
then
picturing
what
like
does that mean?
drunk Bob.
Do you think they're doing it to try and be like, we're going to sell to China, but
Is
somehow
it a
Chinese
planned thing
Well-
that they know it's going to get rejected and they want the publicity of it getting rejected for this reason?
be.
Or like, is it like
have
they
no
think
idea.
that they can somehow sneak it past the Chinese CCP
That's what they're-
and be like,
could never happen.
and be like, we'll sneak it and feed it to their population, and then there'll be an uprising, and then we'll be allowed to sell more of the movies we actually want to sell.
Drunk Bob Chapek and drunk Kevin Feige, like, what if we put like an Epoch Times logo in
And
there?
it was the most like random tiny Easter egg part of the film that you wouldn't see on first, second, or third watch.
Nope.
But I mean, I don't know why you think you'd get that past the CCP, and then you're kind of like putting the people in China watching the movie into an awkward position. If you're like trying to force them into some kind of uprising, like it's just a cartoonish view of the world. Like globalism as a whole,
Yeah.
if in media is like trying to unite people around something, but like what is it?
So it says, until recently, the Chinese box office was on track to become the most lucrative movie market in the world with a reported value of $7 billion, meaning the loss of the market impacted the overall success of Hollywood blockbusters greatly. Films such as Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Venom Let There Be Carnage, and No Time to Die struggled to reach the same financial success without the predecessors. That's funny, too, because like a lot of the people would make the argument that the reason that they weren't successful is because of ham-fisted political messaging. At least that's what they would probably say in the context of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
That's part of it.
But I don't. But the other two,
It's not
like,
everything.
I didn't see any of that really in Venom 2, nor did I see any of that really in the new James Bond movie. There's elements of it, but it's not over the top. So maybe it is just like Hollywood doesn't know how to do it without.
Well, they think they neutered James Bond a little bit.
Can I ask, sorry, this is slightly off topic, but I know that Hollywood relies on selling to China to bolster their numbers, whether it be profit or viewership, because China has such a huge portion. You know, there were so many people in China. Having a highly watched movie in China makes it look like generally the world was more interested
Have
in
the
your
gross
movie.
earnings of the Chinese... Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, is there a way to compensate for that? Like if China
India.
starts start
That's-
courting India viewers?
The from what I've been told that they see India is that market to fill next. Less politically restrictive in some ways, yes, but less culturally restrictive than they are here or than they are in China. I don't know if that will actually happen. That was, I mean,
Is it hard because they have like Bollywood, like India has?
they have their own market, so we have a hard time. One of the reasons they put not Simulu, but they put the Kumail Nanjiani in Eternals, and there's a random Bollywood scene in that movie that makes doesn't.
But it
need
is
to be
like to
there.
court
It's
that viewership?
absolutely to court that audience, right? And he
Like
he
in
broke
s-
my heart.
like
Kumail
in
Nanjiani broke my heart. 'Cause
so-
he ended up being like a weird political, like he's one of
Who
those
is
dudes
he?
who
Who's
just
he?
he's an actor, but
Is he
Who's
the
he
one
in?
guy they put in like every movie?
no, he was
Interesting.
he was in the show Silicon Valley.
Oh.
And he was on.
Oh.
He hosted a very, very popular X-Files podcast called The X-Files Files that I absolutely loved, and he just ended up being a total weirdo. So, I mean, he was always a weirdo, but he became like a politically motivated, like very weird TDS type weirdo. And then you go back and listen to his old podcast, and he's absolutely just like every other comedian of the time, which is vulgar and funny. But then, of course, now you can't be vulgar and funny. He's the one who made the comments about. They're no longer like he doesn't talk about toxic masculinity being bad. He talks about traditional masculinity being bad. So they're like moving the goalpost until any type of masculinity is bad. Yeah, he broke my heart.
I wonder if in some ways it's worth like, I mean, not that they'll listen to me, but like studios starting to court like different regions. Because if China like doesn't need them anymore and India has its own thing, like what about courting like South America? Like what are South American viewers interested in? Because I understand that like China has such a massive population that's easiest to release to one market, and that's sort of the model with India. I mean, I obviously would say like court viewership, like try to produce really solid viewership in like Europe or a different region to get that same effect. I'm just curious, like, when are we going to give up on China? When are we going to decide that it's not worth pursuing them? I know your response to me on all these things are, but it makes money.
No, I think they're already moving that way. I think they're starting to see it as a market not viable, as proven by the fact that they're not editing their movies as much. Like, China would have taken those movies if they'd been willing to make changes to them. Disney's not willing to make changes to them, which is why I think they see China as a failed market now.
Well, it looks like a PR stunt that they want more success in the Western box office from the headlines about being ousted from China. Like,
it's like a virtue signal marketing ploy.
It appeals to absolutely no one.
Yep. Well, the only department worse in Hollywood than their HR departments nowadays appears to be their marketing department. So,
I mean, I just
propaganda
think
department.
If you're looking to make media that appeals
to
people globally, it's not going to be you. At least if you want it to last, you can't unite people around just transgressing against something.
And I don't think you can do it. Like, I really don't know if you can do human stories that.
No.
There's too many restrictions on too many cultures that uniquely human stories have to be unique to their region, unfortunately. So, all pets. Clifford the Big Red Dog movies for every country.
No.
Teletubbies movies for every country.
I feel like Clifford the Big Red Dog in China would be a form of propaganda. Is that?
Oh my God!
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
I feel like there is something there where they'd be like, "Oh
See?
yes, we'll take Clifford."
Not
Thank
even
you.
that is immune from propagandizing. There's no way. I sent Mary a funny picture earlier where it's like Xi Jinping on an airplane and like there's like 2 dots behind him on the plane. It makes him look like Mickey Mouse.
I think there's always going to be the aspect to this problem that communism is kind of an anti-human ideology, and human stories are the ones that actually appeal to people and sell well.
Yep.
So
you can't sell to mass.
Unstoppable force, immovable objects.
Absolutely.
Anyway, super chats. Matthew Dixon said, "Whatever drugs TikTok lady is on, I want some too." Weirdly, I don't think she's on drugs. I think she's just mentally ill.
It makes me sad.
Yeah.
Seeing somebody do that to themselves. At least seeing somebody like broadcast it.
Yes.
The whole thing is sad.
It,
but it somehow makes it more sad to see it happen in real time.
The captive audience is actively worsening her mental state.
Then let me ask you this question. Is it worse that she's doing it to herself? Or like, would it be somehow worse if somebody else was broadcasting this? Or is it almost more sad that she's doing it?
I mean, give that platform to anyone that deep in delusion, they're probably going to use it, you know? I don't think she can be blamed for, bringing it upon herself because she's so, like, far gone. 1,000 Foot Deep End said, Rings of Power will be a success by the sheer power of them sticking their fingers in their ears and yelling, la la la, I can't hear you, over criticism. Cheeseburger said, Carter, when will we see the next single? Will it be Bone by Bone or A Million to One?
That's a good question.
I wish you'd stop talking. That is a good question.
No. So it's a funny story because Bone by Bone, also known as Bright Eyes, was supposed to be the single. However, the song we just released was kind of like one kind of in the bank that I heard Tim play that I really, really liked. So I was working on it almost in secret. And then I was like, I should show it to him, but maybe he won't like it. So I sent it to him, and he's like, that's our single. So we put everything into that, and everyone worked together to make this awesome video happen. We're promoting that right now. We were supposed to have an album out, but we decided to kind of go at a slower pace to just, let everything sink in. We are going to see another single, if I had to put a date on it, absolutely by November, but probably sooner. And then there will also be an album with all these songs on them collectively eventually.
Awesome.
And then are you guys going to go on tour?
I don't have that answer yet.
Tim has to bring the mobile
People
studio.
have even asked him about going on tour, like, irregardless of music.
Yeah. Well, they've talked about doing like
And
IRL
he just said
live.
he doesn't find it feasible.
Brings the mobile
For
studio
IRL.
along and does IRL and then concerts after, and then just passes out.
He
from
might
the
change his
entire,
mind.
It would be
like-
stressful. I'll tell
I think
you
it'd be
that.
really complicated. Also, like, because IRL's at a set time.
Right.
But I don't know. I think it's cool that there are like, the idea is always like, I feel like, especially with the album, watching you approach it has always been like, let me see how I can make as many cool things happen, as opposed to being like, no, we don't want to even try. That's what I feel like a lot of culture needs. And like, I know I have this thesis every time, but like, so much of Hollywood's content is just like, well, we'll warp something that's already existed, as opposed to risking doing something new and original. If they really believed in their values, shouldn't they be able to create art that reflected that?
I like the idea that 5 days a week he does it, and 2 of the days of the week he does rehearsal for the music, and people watching the podcast have to be like, look, I didn't have time to do my research today, so we're just going to wing it. So on those 2 days, the music is like really, really above average, and then the podcast is like kind of like he's just kind of playing it by ear. And then the other 3 days he's doing research and doing the podcast really, really well, and the music is like, we'll just see how it goes. So because you can't, there's literally not enough hours in the day to rehearse, travel, do your research for the podcast and your daily videos. He would have to be 4 people to do that.
Right.
It's not
And
possible.
that's another thing to take into consideration. Like, we're not, like, I don't have Tim there to record all the time, so it's almost like we have to sync up a perfect time where he can just come in and do bits by bits, and so, you know. But yeah, we are going to have lots of music coming out.
Excellent.
Walker Texas Danger said, I can't stop seeing this all through the James Lindsay lens. Of course, companies are trying to co-opt important artistic works. Of course, Gabby sees humanity as a class of cosmic prisoners, etc.
Poor Gabby. I just feel bad for her.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I feel like you're a victim of like the time you've been raised in, how you've made your living. Like, not a victim, but like, you know, kind of a victim. Like, she's a victim of her circumstances. Like,
No doubt her rap sheet of like causing drama for herself before this episode began is extremely long, and I don't think she's a good person in general, like when she's mentally present. But yeah, like circumstances line up the wrong way sometimes. Patrick Fields said Indiana Jones.
I don't know what that's in reference to, but
Like as franchises that we're invested in.
oh wait, that's another thing. Like that's even that Shia LaBeouf. That's not exactly Shia LaBeouf's shining light performance. But let's talk about like another one that would be horrible to be ruined. If they ruin Rad, they better not ruin Back to the Future. Leave Back to the Future alone.
I feel like it's only a matter of time before they come for Back to the Future, because even that word
Yeah.
future, like people are gonna be like, I really
Back
want
to
I
a
thought
better
they
future.
were already they already had that in the works though. Didn't they?
Maybe
So
they
did
do.
I kind of thought
Or
that
did I
too.
imagine
Okay, I'm
that?
gonna Google it. Here
Maybe
we
we
go.
both
No,
imagined it.
don't Google it. I
Like
don't
the
even want
day
to know.
when
On the way to the past.
yeah, that's
All right.
I have an answer.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was I right?
Oh no.
It says, this is from Inside the Magic, and it was July
Yeah.
11th, 2022. Back to the Future reboot coming 2023.
Yep. I
They're-
knew it.
They're also remaking Firefly on Disney which is going to ruin Firefly. So nothing is safe, my friends. Nothing.
Bad App said Guam.
Uh,
I
Okay.
don't understand.
Like the country?
He
not
finally
Googling it.
he finally gave us one that you can read though. So
could be
thank
an
you, Bad App.
acronym.
Cool. Bootless Regent said, for the cute one in the corner of the stream. Aw, he's complimenting all of us.
Aww.
Get it?
Shit.
Get it, guys?
I didn't even catch that. It's like,
Look how confident you look now. You're like, that made me feel good.
oh,
Carter
this
feels
is me
pretty.
stretching.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sure, Carter. Rega Tan said, for the new song, make a radio mix with more of the emo part for the song. What a waste of bandmates for the first half of the song.
Yeah?
So
Would
Do
you
you
make a
have a
radio
response?
mix?
I don't have a response for that. But I will tell you there's more emo stuff coming. This is
Yeah,
not
like
our
that's the
most emo
whole-
song.
I've heard it.
And there's some hardcore emo stuff coming too. Like it's no, I understand people are frustrated with the slow build up throughout the song. That was just the way that it made sense to write it, and the flow, it was either, have no awesome ending with the full band or have that. So, we're gonna have more heavy songs and more emo songs.
I feel like if you keep listening, like if you like the second half of the song,
right,
there'll probably be something on the album that
then you know
that.
what they're capable of
and if
making.
you like the slow one, then there's probably other stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Derek Knoll said, Brett, I remember you don't like Christian music, grits rap 2000s?
They sing the song Ooh Ah.
Oh.
That's that one you hear on
me?
on Instagram all the time. My life be like ooh.
Yeah,
no.
yeah, I remember.
Are you guys gonna cover that?
A better would be Nappy Roots with Oh No.
That's Christian?
No, I'm saying a better.
Wait, but
they're
like
similar in sound.
But make
Why-
it Christian.
They have a similar sound. I'm saying.
Oh, okay, but like, why is he saying this about Christian?
Oh, because I was making fun. I said most Christian rock music is just kind of cringy. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it totally is, and that's just an objective fact.
We should make a channel. We should start a fake Christian rock band. Wait, we couldn't do that because you're actually Christian.
You couldn't be
Christian rock is cringy, but you can like it.
Yeah, you said Flyleaf is Christian, right? I didn't know that because I thought the music was generally good.
Flyleaf is objectively good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Genuinely good, and so it didn't. I didn't know anything about the.
Thank you.
And then the
How
other
many is that
crisis
now?
party.
I don't know. It's just so nice.
And then the other
No, it's
example.
3 or like maybe 4.
And then
It's
the
a
other
record.
example was
actually
Anne
not.
Boleyn. I like Anne Boleyn.
Under Oath is Christian.
Yeah, they are.
They're like,
I mean, Christian metalcore is kind of a whole other thing than the mainstream Christian rock that you hear on the radio.
oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Wait, yeah.
Do you think it's just that Christian radio needs to like diversify what they're playing?
They got to get that Christian
What is
metalcore
They got to be
on the
heavier,
radio.
edgier.
Raymond G. Stanley Jr. said, shout out Carter, Sir Rockstar. Cheers on Only Ever Wanted. Have you changed since filming the video? LOL. Also, guys, I'm also catching more Pop Culture Crisis clips.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Raymond.
thank you, Raymond G. Stanley. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been wearing the same clothes a lot lately, haven't I?
So, well, when you're not sleeping, sometimes you forget
I thought
to
he meant
change.
like as a person, like or if you become more of a diva. since you-
Definitely changed as a person.
Maybe it's about clothing. I don't
Become
know.
older.
And then he says
Took years off
he
your life.
caught more PCC clips. That is very cool. 'Cause like I said, I told
Shout
the story.
out Dave.
The other day, Jessica told me that somebody had
Dave
left
head of
a
propaganda.
a super chat on one of the Quarterings videos that they were late because they were watching Pop Culture Crisis live, and I was like, yes,
Here we
let's
go.
go.
They're advertising for us,
Let's
guys.
go.
You can do it better than we can.
No, I love the word of mouth. I think it's like cool. My favorite way to find podcasts is like when someone recommends me something they like.
Yeah.
Will Dark said, does
Actually-
Arcane
Did
count?
you just wince?
I agreed
You
with what you
winced?
said, but then I realized I didn't agree with it. I'm like, actually, no,
Oh.
that's not what I did.
What do you do then?
Don't like being
I
recommended
actually
podcasts?
don't
He
like
asked
being
his
recommended
friends
stuff.
for what they like so that
Why
he
did
can
you
find
agree
something
with
else.
me?
I don't know.
I don't need your
It's on
support.
autopilot.
You ask your friends what podcasts they like and just never listen to them.
That's intentionally
Just
what you
because
I
avoid.
don't ask them, but if someone refers something to me, I'm less likely to listen.
You know how like
This
when
is like particularly weird because I have sent him episodes of podcasts before. and
I've
now I'm
listened
like,
to that
did you
one, okay?
listen?
I did.
Do you know how, like,
Short.
when
what if
you
I
look
sent you a
something up-
YouTube channel? Is that different?
Gotta send me a video.
Okay.
when you look something up like a podcast and it says other stuff like this, Carter needs a list. It's like other stuff not like this at all. So
Yeah.
that like when you send him something, he just looks up.
Here's
the,
stuff you wouldn't like.
Gotta reverse psychology.
I guess.
Psychology me.
Will Dark said, does Arcane count as a Netflix franchise? I like animation. If you haven't seen it, watch Mad God. It's a bit intense, but it's an impressive feat.
Arcane's that is a show much like Castlevania on Netflix that I've meant to watch and just don't get around to. I should absolutely be watching both of those. And I would say that Castlevania, even though it's I assume licensed IP, would be an example of something that was a successful Netflix franchise.
1,000 Foot Deep End said she was sort of reciting the Lord's Prayer found in Matthew 9, verse 13. It's a pretty commonly memorized passage.
Well, she's still zooming in on herself
But she
while
was
she's
adding
doing
her
it.
own, like, she was doing it ad
She was
lib.
putting other things
Yeah.
in there. That was not word for word.
Yeah. Justin Trefney said, are you guys going to discuss Shia LaBeouf complete turnaround in his interview with Bishop Barron. He has become a Latin Mass Catholic. Yes, we are.
And I got into the comment section, and I like seeing all the abbreviations like LMC. I'm like, what?
There's a lot.
It's
There's
like
a
Latin
lot
Mass
for the
Catholic.
uninitiated.
Speaking of jargon, the Catholics have got you.
I was
We're
getting
just gonna
into
talk
it.
about Catholic stuff all 2 hours on Monday.
I
It's
felt-
gonna be great.
I
It's
felt
a
like
Catholic, a hostile Catholic takeover.
Yes, this is Cathcast Media.
It's Occupy Catholicism with Mary.
But yes, we're gonna talk about it. John Harrison said Bishop Barron was transferred away from Sodom, LA.
So maybe to Minnesota. I
Okay.
don't know.
Cool.
We'll see. I'll have to look. Like I said, I always worry that I read something. I'm like, did I actually read that, or am I nuts? And
No, you're not. You're not nuts. You're not taking crazy pills.
I'm not like Gabby. I'm
Dragon's Talon 1001 said, okay, no one play poker against Carter. He has that face that will leave you all thinking, does he have a crap hand or the full boat?
This is true.
Do you remember what we
You
used
do
to
have a really good poker face, actually.
We I played poker for the first time. I think Hannah Claire was there. Right?
Also my first time playing poker.
That's right.
Was
The
he good
executive
at it?
editor of TimCast.com used to
Thank you.
host games occasionally for us here before he had more than one child and had time.
Yeah.
That was hard. I mean,
Yeah, well, I don't know how to play poker very well, so I'm always confident that I have something. And even if I don't, I know there's a 50% chance that I'm right. That's not the right chance, but you know what I mean.
It's like you can be smiling but still look totally neutral to like whatever is going on.
I feel like that's why you are a good music producer, because when people are like coming up with ideas for you, you can smile and like sort of seem encouraging, but also not
Very
like,
diplomatic smile.
like we're gonna do.
You know what his face is? It's the face I make because I'm deaf in one ear when I can't hear someone and they're talking to
And
me.
you're like,
And I'm like, and I'm just kind of faking it like I actually know what they're saying.
Is that what that expression is?
Sometimes.
Oh man.
I like to think I'm a good
Well,
listener.
I usually try to not interrupt, and then as soon as they
Right.
get done with their whole diatribe, I say, "Could you repeat that, please?" Which is like, hey, that is one of the most frustrating things. Like, I don't think of being deaf in one ear as like as a disability, but it certainly is a problem when like you're either always talking too loud or too quiet, and you have to ask all your friends to be extremely patient with you all the time because you have no idea what anyone's saying.
I don't think you asked me to repeat myself that much.
Well,
Maybe I'm
it's just
just
we're
loud.
usually like up here in like a room with no other sound.
Yeah.
Like if we were down in a room with other people talking, it's different.
Yeah. Joe Duraki, aka Jay Dizzle, said, HC, where's that sweet Whalers hat you were rocking on IRL the other night? Gotta compete with Brett's hat game.
I wonder how such a hat could come into Hannah Claire's collection.
Guys, I'm actually so glad someone brought this up. Brett got me that
dying to
hat
talk
as a thank you for subbing last week while Mary was traveling the world, and I love it. It's from American Thread, I think, and it's such it's like it fits so well. It's such good quality. I have it. It's either in my backpack or in my car right now. Like it like instantly became my favorite hat for a number of reasons.
Become the biggest compliment I've ever received.
No,
frankly.
I like it's not even like it was sweet. Like there was a day where like something happened and Brett needed me to come in and he was like, I'm gonna get you a gift basket. That was like, seriously? And instead I got this super cool hat, which I seriously love. Brett is a fantastic gift giver. I'll wear it next time I'm on.
Yes.
I didn't know I was doing Pop Culture Crisis today, otherwise I would have come more prepared.
Bobcat said, here is a deal. If we can get 5 crisis parties today, Hannah Claire will have to watch all of the Fast and Furious movies.
Well, she just said all this nice stuff about my hat gift giving, so I will give
Also,
it
5 guys, come on, 20 consecutive.
Aren't we pretty close already?
We're at 3.
We're at 3
I feel
right
like
now.
I'll watch one of them for 5.
Next
but,
week
like,
we're
all
gonna-
of them. That's like 25
That's
consecutive.
insane. That's
crisis
like an
parties.
investment of your life.
Yeah, if we
that
had
you're
a
never
day-
gonna get back.
I'm not kidding. If we had a day where we just had 25 crisis parties in a row, I would watch multiple Fast and Furious. But if we have 5 today, I'll commit to watching 1.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. The first one, too, which is actually a good movie, so you're not even really sacrificing.
I want to start in the middle. I want to start like 7.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's the one with the,
We can watch
that's
the first one.
last Paul Walker one.
I'll leave it up to you guys. Will you guys watch it with me if we get that?
I'll watch
Ow.
all the Fast and the Furiouses if you guys go buy our new single.
No,
Never won.
boom.
Stop trying to make this about you. It's about
I'm
me.
just saying.
Alec Bisson said, Hannah Claire's name is literally on the screen.
Saw that one.
I like it better that they're
It
like, I
needs
know that
to
girl.
be said.
I kind of
It's right there. You have a reference point.
Or it's like they're just misspelling it on purpose as a way of like asserting dominance. They're like, I don't know how to spell your name.
Guys, that's not even.
While
That's
he's
totally
trying
different.
to sing her praises?
Good point. Yeah, that's.
I like it, the idea that he's like, oh, I'm familiar with her. I'm not even gonna check the screen because I know who her name is. But he just doesn't know the spelling. And he went for both. He didn't just go for Hannah, and he didn't just go for Claire. I appreciate the effort.
Could have just said HC.
The worst
I
thing
that.
is when
Wrong with
people
that.
call you Hannah and then they don't even add the H at the end. Like, at least try.
Yeah, it's just deeply confusing. Like, because my name is Hannah Claire, and so when people say Hannah, I think you're talking to someone else.
Let's do 2 more, and then we'll go to Pavlock, and then we'll read the rest at the end.
Okay.
Am I making your life harder because you have to not scroll?
No, it's fine.
You
it's
have
fine.
a hard job. I just have to say that the scrolling thing makes me crazy. Everyone watched me struggle with that live last week, and I was like, Mary, please come back from
Struggle bus.
Ireland.
Why don't you guys get a mouse?
No,
What do you
a
mean?
mouse wouldn't solve this
No,
issue.
it's a YouTube issue.
Oh.
They like build
Oh.
in this.
They try
stupid
to
problem.
make your life difficult. I just want everyone
Thank
to
you.
know.
Yeah.
2 more.
D-Low53 said, first time super chatter, great show.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We
D-Lo.
love the first time super chatters.
It does. It fills
we
me
welcome
with
you.
the warm fuzzies. It does.
Dragon's Talon 1001 said, come on, Brett, quit pushing Jurassic Park movies. How many movies can we watch where a T-Rex is mad they can't self-care?
As-
LOL.
As the number one executive in charge of the Jurassic Park propaganda department, I can promote a lot of Jurassic Park movies. I can. All right, guys, we are going to move on to Pavlock, and we got a bunch of. It's kind of all over the place today, but we're going to have some fun with it. So it says Dennis.
This
What?
haphazard show all over the place?
All over the place.
No
Dennis.
way.
I cannot even believe it.
I would have never expected this from Pop Culture Crisis.
Seems pretty rigid to me.
Dennis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is starring in a film about the rise and fall of BlackBerry.
I'm excited for this, but I want another one. I want a sequel. For once, I want a sequel about T-Mobile Sidekick.
Yes, via Hip Top.
And
weird that I'm not mad about this at all. I'm like,
not at all.
I do want to know what happened to
I want
BlackBerry.
to know.
I also, I was trying to think, I was like, what else would I like to see a documentary on? I want to see one on Kazaa.
Well, is this a
LimeWire.
film a la The Social Network, where it's a dramatized version of the BlackBerry
I think they're, yeah.
company?
Probably.
More like.
Because I like that more than a documentary.
So
Well, it says film as opposed to documentary. I feel
Yeah.
like they specify documentary.
think more like, what was the one that came out about Uber? Super whatever that they had one that came out at Uber this year starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and then we also have the Theranos one with what's her name?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it says, well, we didn't know this was coming. They're making a film about the former mobile titan BlackBerry, and it's going to star Glenn Howerton of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as the company's co-CEO Jim Balsillie. Balsillie sounds right. According to the Globe and Mail, production wrapped this week, though when exactly the film will hit cinemas is unknown. This seems like a better release for streaming to me. It doesn't seem like a
The
theater.
choices with streaming and theatrical release
All
really
of them.
confuse me these days, especially the Marilyn Monroe film. That should not have been a streaming
That should have been a
exclusive.
film. Absolutely.
And then this is going to be in theaters? Like, it doesn't make sense
It's
to
a
me.
war on women, Mary.
It
It's a
really
war-
is. And it's
war
a
on-
war on Cuban accents. No.
That's what it is. The film, simply titled Blackberry, is based on the 2015 book Losing the Signal, The Spectacular Rise and Fall of BlackBerry by journalists Sean Silkoff and Jackie McNish. According to its blurb, the book focuses on an unlikely partnership between a visionary engineer and an abrasive Harvard Business School grad, the two founders of Research in Motion, which would later become BlackBerry. How about a movie on Kazaa or LimeWire or any of the torrenting sites?
Oh, that would be interesting.
Because a lot of those are connected to like the Tor site, to like Tor in the dark net and
Well,
stuff
they
like that.
touched on Napster and the Social Network.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I mean, there's a lot to be explored there, story-wise.
What's another
Because
company?
it's like the Wild West
right.
aspect of it. I find it interesting.
Here's the other thing. I want a movie based on the cabal of tech geniuses who have somehow kept printers from ever becoming an actual viable product that isn't the most frustrating
Yeah,
thing.
why do they suck so much?
Why
What's
is
wrong with
it
printers?
that the printer has not evolved?
Why
I
is
want
it
a
still
movie.
so
would
big?
it
I want to
evolve
draw. No,
into?
I want
What
it
do
to
you
be a.
mean?
I don't want it to be an actual movie. I want it to be a drama about a guy who just hates people, and so decided to just make
Do you have
printers.
a traumatic experience with a printer?
I think we all do, right?
I think everyone here has at least once experienced a poor relationship with a printer.
A poor relationship.
And
sure.
I want that explored by it. I want it to literally be a cabal of companies like Mac, IBM, like every major company is like, we here agree to not ever improve the quality of our printer.
Do you think that it's like
shook on it?
The printer repair industry is trying to prop it up?
Yes.
Like, they lobby printer makers to be like,
in a clandestine meeting.
They're like,
They
do not
all
make it more
agreed
user friendly.
one day.
That will put us out of
Or
business.
it could be environmentalists not wanting us to use paper.
But printers are never
goes
going to
straight
go
to the
away.
top.
Under the cover of like Davos and the World Economic Forum, they meet.
Wait, this
and,
is
like,
why Britney Spears' memoir can't come out.
Yeah.
because the damn
the printer
printers.
industry-
Ultimately.
And I want this movie to be made, and I want it to star Keanu Reeves as like a bad guy. I want him to play against his type and be
Brother.
and be an evil CEO.
Big Brother.
Yes, we could. Do
The
this.
printer story. Big Brother.
I think it was like. It would be fantastic if somebody could like. He's
I
like,
get it,
no,
brother.
man. We was like every year they go to the meeting like we're raising the price of cartridges. We're raising the price of cartridges because you can't ever get cartridges for cheap.
Yeah, you might as well buy a new printer.
Yeah, it's
They're
a.
scalping
There's no reason a printer should be bigger than a
the
piece
color
of paper
cartridges.
at this point.
The other one I was thinking of that was Super Pumped. That was the one based on Uber. And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
always like they're always over dramatized.
I like a good tech CEO turned felon thing, but it doesn't have
Who
to
doesn't?
be that dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, I'm also just interested in the
Blackberry-
factual events.
Yeah, the BlackBerry guy didn't turn into a felon, right? I just think it is interesting to have like a disruptive product. Like the BlackBerry was the phone, right? It changed everything. People got really
But there
into
were
them.
multiple phones that were like that.
that were just like.
but
it.
it,
you
I
know?
mean, but they were all called
the
BlackBerry.
It
Razer
used to be
and it-
like, half of the market, I feel like.
Yeah, but like what I mean is like, so like we don't call things facial tissues, we call them Kleenex, right? Like the Kleenex
Yeah.
is the brand product that you're referencing.
One of my favorite things.
It's
about-
regional.
And but I think that like the BlackBerry had similar dominance, right? Even though there were competitors, it was like the thing. It's like right now with iPhones, right? There are a lot of smartphones out there, but when iPhone changes a feature, people tend to sort of line up.
Actually, they
in
tend to
similar
just
ways.
catch up to Android like 5 years late. But
I don't know how any of this works, but
I'm
I am
just
curious
inciting
about.
violence on the chat right now. They're gonna get really mad at me. I'm kidding.
to
I
Android.
am
Kidding.
curious to see like a movie that's about something that like it did well, but ultimately technology progressed onwards and consumer interest shifted. So it's not that he didn't have a good product, but like you can't maintain dominance for as long as he had. That's why Microsoft is kind of interesting.
People
'cause-
didn't want to carry around like a stylus to pop out of the phone.
Yeah,
And,
It's cute.
I had
it's
a.
vibe.
There's a funny.
I liked
picture.
having a keyboard. My screen, like I don't know.
I had a funny picture once where like it was like the early 2010s, and like I was dating a girl. She took a picture with this huge Dell phone at the time. Like, look at how funny this is. Who would keep a phone this big? And then like 5 years go by, and now everyone's phone is bigger than that phone was at the time. I also would like if they're not gonna make the BlackBerry one, I want Palm Pilot, the TV series.
Oh.
Remember Palm Pilots?
Yeah.
That's the other disruptive
Well, I
product.
remember
They
my
were-
dad had one.
Yeah, that's what,
mine
my
did
favorite part.
too.
My favorite part about watching old TV shows is watching like people who work in like professional industries using Palm Pilots. I'm like,
Okay, Hannah Claire, I know you're a fan of Gossip Girl, right?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they like switch phones throughout the series to what was the phone at the time, and BlackBerry was one of them.
Yeah, it was one of them.
T-Mobile sidekicks were also
Yep.
there,
And
but
I
they
think-
started with the Motorola Razr.
Well,
I remember
in
the
Gilmore
Razr.
Girls, there's
Yeah.
it's an episode in the seventh season which I don't respect, but generally there's a moment where her dad comes into money and like gets her a sidekick as like this cool new technology, and like there's a whole bit with the side. I mean, I assume sidekick paid for some kind of advertising there, but like. It is interesting to see, and that is one of the hallmarks of Gossip Girl. Like these are these like wealthy New Yorker kids who have the best of everything, so of course they are getting the newest phone, right?
Yeah.
I think like it is funny to think of teenagers carrying around Blackberries because I associate it with like the busy working people.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But Blackberries used to be cool.
I
I,
had a-
don't know. I'm
I
just
don't think it
excited
was
for
ever
this
cool.
movie.
I remember when BlackBerry released the Curve or whatever it was. It was like their version of like an iPhone. It was like touch screen. I'm like, it's not really a BlackBerry if it doesn't have those tiny buttons. I'm sorry.
Right.
Also, they need to make a documentary on the Nextel phone that chirped. And it's just construction guys chirping each other.
I do remember that the like walkie-talkie feature, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Really?
Yep. Or a two-way pager. A thing about
I
two-way
would
pagers.
like
We should bring back pagers, by the way.
Well,
I agree.
Because I
checked
never
my phone.
answer.
it
my
can't be
phone.
done.
Nobody does.
It can't be done because doctors still have to carry them. So
You mean they're still in?
Oh, that's
they're
right.
still in. So doctors
That
are
is
the ultimate
so right.
hipsters.
But that means that we could bring them back because they're not hard to get. We could still all get pagers.
There's
Still a market for them.
There's
Oh
a
my
really
gosh,
funny
Tim, if you're listening, we all want pagers of the
company
company.
pagers.
I actually do not want one.
Yeah. There's a really funny like storyline in an episode of the show Elementary where like a bomb is like in like the roofing of like this business and goes off like 12 years later because it was attached to a pager and there was no like cell towers there like 12 years earlier, and they never explain why the battery is still working to this day.
Because the batteries are better.
12 years better. Or a documentary on that Nokia phone that's always the joke is it will live forever. The
Yeah.
Nokia phone that's literally just an enormous brick that has a battery that lasts 2
I
weeks.
think that there was a point with technology, like cell phone technology, it might have been the BlackBerry or like around that time, where we had an ideal amount of accessibility that people had to you.
Yeah.
And then we went like way off the deep end.
Yep.
That's kind of why people have nostalgia for technology like this.
That would be great if that's the reason why the company went under. He's like, I don't like the idea of being connected 24/7.
Right.
I like the phone. I don't know if I want the internets on my phone.
Back when text messages costed like 10 cents
Yeah.
a text, and you only got to send 250
and it should be a
month.
little bit hard to type the
Right.
texts out. Yeah.
You have to like type.
Actually, it was easier.
3 times
Like when you
for
had to
even-
do that, you could text and drive and not look at your phone. You knew exactly what button you
that
were
probably
pressing.
caused a lot of
What?
deaths.
That's when we got
I mean,
those-
I never did that.
That's when we get all those like don't text and drive campaigns,
Yes.
right? That's when all
Yeah.
that started. You were part of the
I
problem.
was never,
Because of
and
the
I never
BlackBerry?
used T9. I don't know if you know what T9 is.
I do.
Oh my God. I
That's
type
what I
you.
used.
Never mind. It's
You,
fine.
you press the
What's
button
T9?
however amount of times you need for the letter.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna update on Avatar, which is they're removing.
yeah.
They're removing
Are you
Avatar.
an Avatar
from,
fan, Carter?
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, they're removing
No
Avatar
way.
from Disney
What?
Plus.
Why?
Because they're
Who's like
re-releasing it.
really into Avatar? This
Did
is
we just meet
like,
a real life Avatar fan?
amazing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
I was
Why
an
do you
Avatar
like
for
it so
Halloween
much?
once.
They're re-releasing
I just
it.
love it. I don't
They're
know.
re-releasing it in theaters
Really?
ahead
the
of the
first
sequel
one?
coming out. Yeah, ahead of the sequel
You're
coming
having
out.
a whole different moment than I am.
Oh. Yeah, it took like 10 years for them to make
The sequel.
the sequel and the
original?
first one. But it's funny because it's like over that period of time, they were probably dealing with the fact that everything was getting better. So it's like, well, we could do this opening scene better now because it's been 10 years.
Yep. And James Cameron's kind of a perfectionist anyways.
Right.
So, yeah, they're re-releasing it ahead of the release of the new movie, which is a trend coming out because they're also
here for it.
re-releasing Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters with like 11 minutes of new footage, which is my favorite type of like blatant cash grab. Like, it makes me laugh. Like, if you go and see it again for 11 minutes of new footage, you're the sucker. I'm sorry. Like, just buy it when it comes out on DVD. But people love their Marvel stuff. So it says, while the move might be annoying for fans who wanted to watch Avatar from the comfort of their own homes, the film's absence will not be held for very long. Sources confirm that the film will return to Disney Plus at an unspecified time before December 16th, which is the release date of The Way of Water. So are you going to go see it, Carter?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
That is surprising.
It's gonna be 4 hours long, right?
We just
yeah.
asked him if he liked a franchise. He's like, I don't like any franchise.
Okay, so
it's
I
not a
forgot
franchise.
about
Yeah, it's not a
Avatar.
franchise.
Not a franchise yet. Fair enough.
It is now
Yet.
when the second one comes
Yes.
out, you know.
What? Will you enjoy it, do you think?
Yeah.
You're like
You really think-
fascinated.
You really think it's going to be good?
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been
I
waiting
mean,
for
why
this.
did you like the first one?
Yes, great
What
question.
Was,
I don't know.
what
it
appealed
was just
to you about it?
Don't
the
make him
story or
justify
just like
it.
We just
how,
want to get to know him
So-
better.
how it looks?
It
or
started
both?
with how it
Because
looked, and
Love's
it was
really
just
into the
like,
color
wow,
blue.
you know, the storyline. It was just bizarre, and I thought it was cool.
I thought I was going to a Blue Man Group concert. I ended up at Avatar.
You
I
just said don't
Kind
make
of.
fun of him.
That is true, but you know what? It's okay. And then this was all kind of like yeah, it was long, but I did go see it more than one time.
Oh
In
my
the-
God.
Yeah.
So like,
Also remember
what
there's
do you remember about that? Like,
Remember
if
when
the
they-
feeling of seeing that movie.
I felt like I was in the movie.
when they advertise this and it's going to be long as hell and James Cameron's like, just go take a bathroom break.
Carter's like, no.
He's
Yeah,
like,
for a perfectionist, he could make a little more concise film.
he's like, I don't do concise. So he's going to give a bunch of people some type of bladder infection because they're not going to be able to take a bathroom break.
There are going to be medical
Carter
emergencies,
is
James
gonna
Cameron.
make-
He just said you should do it because he doesn't have a plot and it's not going to make sense. So he needs you to miss part of it, so you can't put it together. No offense,
Carter is
Carter.
going to miss days of work because of James Cameron's irresponsible nature.
He's not going to be
I
able to go on
almost-
They can work
tour.
from the
I want to
theater.
watch the re-release of the first one almost because I want to pretend it's 2009 again.
You always
Oh,
wanna
that's
pretend
another
it's
reason.
2009, right?
I know, like that's kind of my thing.
It is a little nostalgic.
I listened to a bunch of like 2009 music playlists.
I'm glad I'm not the only one stuck in the past.
I think we should.
If they make it, I'm wearing an Austin Carlisle.
Yeah,
or Die
I
shirt.
noticed that this morning.
I think we should all go with Carter to see this movie, and
You
I'm just
should.
gonna watch Carter's reaction to this movie.
I
don't care
hope
about
that they
Avatar.
re-release it in 3D, and then we can get the 3D
like
glasses,
IMAX?
and then pop
Yeah.
out the lenses
Oh.
afterwards,
Oh
and
my
have
God,
nerd
yeah.
glasses. It's gonna be very
Do
2009.
they still do 3D movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one in a while.
All right, guys.
It was never all it was cracked up to be.
But before we go, I want to mention that Shaquille O'Neal is failing his kids in a way. Do you think? Do you think he's? What is your
I
take on this,
mean,
Mary?
the universities are failing. his
Shaquille
kids.
O'Neal says that his children have to get 2 degrees if they want access to his inheritance. Wouldn't it be their inheritance, not his inheritance?
Yeah, because he's not inheriting his own money.
I mean, who's gonna get it if they don't get master's degrees? Like,
It's like Jackie Chan.
Could
you
they
know?
get 2 bachelors?
can they
double
get an
major?
associate's degree and then
Yeah.
a bachelor's?
What if one of them gets like their certification in cosmetology? Like
What if they each get 1?
I don't know.
degree?
Wait, does
They combine
Shaquille
them?
O'Neal have 2 degrees?
he does. He has a bunch.
Really? In
Oh,
what?
he's got like a PhD and everything.
Do you know in what?
I can look it up. I think in business.
And like why?
He
Which
is kind of an interesting person because he has done so much with like in terms of making money. Like it wasn't just basketball, but then he has like the shoe lines. He does deals with
Right.
Walmart. It's like
Okay.
he is very successful, and I know he did go back and get. I know I think he has honor, and I think he really does have a PhD. So I understand being like I bettered myself, and I expect the same for you. But like mostly what he's saying, I assume, is like. I will pay for you to be in college for a long time, and I don't. If your parent has the money to do that, and you are interested, like that seems nice. You don't have to get a real job. Like he's not saying I expect you to make your own money to have access. I'm expecting you to let me pay for something. You know what I mean? Like this seems
Yeah.
weird.
He's also
Yeah,
a
but
father of
it's-
8. Maybe he's just hoping some of them don't end up.
It's a
completely-
little bit.
Oh, raising the bar.
Yeah, it's a little bit hypocritical though if he decided to return to education after he had success in his younger years.
I think what
He had his master's degree in business administration from the University of Phoenix. In
Oh my God.
2005.
That's a
That's amazing.
online
And he
cop.
has a bachelor's degree in general studies from the Louisiana State University, which is I assume where he.
Went to college.
Yeah, and then he earned a doctorate.
Thank you. Is that number 4? Yeah.
He
Crisis
earned a
Part
doctoral.
By the way,
degree
next
from
week we're
Barry
going to be
University.
working on a counter that will tell you how many there have
Yeah.
been.
Ooh, are we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're
well,
also going to have a counter for like days since Ezra Miller. No.
he has a doctoral degree in organizational learning and leadership and a specialization in human resources from Barry University.
So
He's
Also,
very
he's 325 pounds? Question mark.
200. He accumulated $292 million, not including the large sums of money he earned throughout his countless endorsement deals. He's worth like over $400 million now.
Wow.
So like, I can respect the idea. You know, I do think it's funny. It's like all these business deals, but like, where did you make most of your money playing basketball?
So like full tuition, how much does it cost to pay for 8 people to get a master's degree?
I mean, a master's degree can cost, let's say, $40,000 a year. And some master's degrees are longer, but let's say
Yeah.
it's like 2 years. That's $80,000.
He doesn't say masters in here.
I mean, he is saying to his
64,000,
children,
640.
I will spend, let's say, minimum $6 million on your education, probably more. I'm just guessing they went to private schools. Like,
In order to get my cheese, you
order
have
to
to
get
present me
more
with 2
money.
degrees. That's what he says.
He said that.
In order to get my cheese, you have to present me with 2 degrees. So he's a poet too.
Made up his own rhyme.
The former LA Lakers shared that he wants to continuously motivate his children and not have them rely on him as the benefactor.
wait, you want to motivate your children? I don't understand this at all.
But I'm saying it's funny because it's like, is the idea here that you that you use your wealth as a way of like kind of motivating them to become self-sufficient? That's again,
But he's not
assuming that
saying
he
self-sufficient.
thinks.
I
He's saying
mean-
overeducated.
That's what I'm saying. Because we are still in that false reality where
He is a dated mindset.
where we're still in this. You guys talked about this. I'm not sure if it was an episode you were on. They were on IRL. They were talking about the other night. I said, look, the concept that education is the end goal is a outdated notion. That is
that was
still
definitely me, and I say it all
all
the time.
over television and movies where it's like, my kid was the first to go to college. I'm like, but it's coming from a parent who like started their own business and he's like runs a
Right.
bar. And I was like, you're going to be more successful, likely, than your kid will end up being. But that's not the world we live in.
Should be seen as a means.
Well, the thing is, like, I could
Yes.
understand if you grew up in poverty and you yourself earned a degree and like worked hard, and that feels like important to you, and so you were like, I don't want to be the last in my family. It is hard to accept that our culture has changed and the educational system, in large part because of the federal government, is so corrupted that it doesn't mean the same thing emotionally. But like, I just want everyone to understand that like Shaq is operating from an emotional place. He's saying like, I want to continue having education be a priority for our family, which is honorable, by saying I will pay off universities to give you degrees.
He says, I just keep them motivated. I'm teaching them about generational wealth right now. I tell them all the time we don't need another NBA player in the house. If you want to play, I can help you get there, but I would rather see a doctor, a dentist, a hedge fund guy, a veterinarian, or a world traveler. How does a world traveler
I was
pay?
thinking the same thing.
Like,
but
This is
I
an
respect
Did he
assortment.
just say that he wants his kids to become like travel bloggers?
That's not a degree.
I don't know
Is there?
what he meant by that.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a master's in online influencer course now.
I mean,
at
maybe
some
that may
college.
actually be the most beneficial degree to get.
And the
at
real
this
question
point.
is do any of these kids take the Taylor Swift song studies class or the Harry Styles masculinity
God.
class? And what did they get in the course? I need to know.
I don't know.
Well, the basketball legend insists that the household doesn't need another NBA star. That's exactly what's on the horizon for his eldest son, Sharif, who is showing a promising career at college basketball. That's going to be really funny. Then the guy has to decide whether he's like that. Imagine
It's
being
just
him.
interesting because he gives his kids the best genetics for
Right,
sport.
it's almost
being
like he's,
athletic,
like,
and then
hurting
he's like,
them.
no, be academics.
But I like the idea.
Get a general studies degree.
There might be a good movie to be made there for that player. So imagine you're Sharif, right? And you've got this. You're really talented. You could make it to the NBA, maybe. You have to decide whether you want to bet on yourself and try to make your money in the NBA without the inheritance to fall back on, or do you give up on that dream and do what your dad said and get multiple degrees just to get access to the inheritance? He could make his own money very easily, but he has to take that bet on whether he can actually pull that off rather than the fallback of like, well, my dad will do it if I just get these degrees. That would actually be an interesting movie to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be.
Noted.
Okay.
Noted
So-
for 50 years in the future.
I also want to know if any of them will have underwater basket weaving degrees or any such hilarious, I want to hear him.
Lesbian dance theory.
If he's like in none of the humanities bull.
No,
Like,
it sounds like he doesn't care as long as
No.
you do
Really
it.
does sound like he doesn't care at all.
What's like,
well, because he's not keeping up with like what's happening.
he's also
in
not saying like,
academia.
hey, you need to have earned $1 million for yourself to get my inheritance. He's just saying
that
like,
would be the better thing to say.
wouldn't that say?
Yeah.
Like, being like,
Or do the Donald Trump route where you give them a small loan of $1 million where they start their own businesses.
yeah, or like you have to have a credit score of 800 and then you get my money. Like
they
he's
get
saying like,
like a report card.
I will pay for you to spend my money getting a degree in whatever you like. Either one of like that doesn't sound like a bad
'Cause
deal
the
at
point
all.
would
I
be to
don't-
make sure that these kids could survive on their own without him and are capable of like being successful, right?
and have good values. I
Yeah.
assume.
Or the parents like, look, I've talked to Andy and Lydia about this, like the idea that like, okay, if one of your kids comes to you with like a business plan, right? Like you are going to give me this much for 4 years tuition. Here's my business plan. I want to start a business doing this. Can I use that money as a startup cost? To start this business, and then he can base that not on whether they get a degree, but whether they're able to turn that business into a profitable enterprise, and that qualifies them for their inheritance. Come on, Shaq.
yeah,
Do
Wise
better.
up.
I don't really get this.
Also,
Well, ultimately, he's the one with the money, so
and frankly, his
Can't really
kids
say anything.
His kid should push back and say, "I will do that if you can make 5 for 5 at the free throw line. If you can make 5 for 5 at the free throw line, I get the inheritance. They will win every time because Shaq was awful at free throws. I'm not in a group of sports fans, so that joke just fell plenty flat.
Nah,
That's
I
fine.
mean,
I love references to things.
That's fine.
so that was
it's good. I
let's
like
do
it.
let's do the rest
I'm with
of the
Hannah
super
Claire
chats.
on this one.
okay. Charles Fritz said, "Thank you guys for doing this show. My girlfriend likes knowing that there are others out there who feel the same way she does about our culture."
Well, the
Interesting. People are getting introduced to pop culture crisis through their girlfriends. It says a good thing about our audience that they're well adjusted. They
we are
have
not
relationships.
there is no war on women here. Just at
No. Yvonne Ortiz said, "To be honest, I think they could have done a Lord of the Rings TV show about Aragorn's mother raising him with the Dune Dane. Then they could have they could have a strong women and accurate Lord of the Rings story.
That's kind of interesting.
I heard about recently about Aragorn getting race swapped in a Magic the Gathering game that's coming out.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I just don't like when they take a property from someone who's dead and cannot say anything for themselves.
Well, then it's owned by their estate.
But their estate is like kind of like bullying their memory, like just spitting on their grave, basically.
For the sake of profit, too, which is even worse.
Mm-hmm. Holy Cannoli 91 sent us $2 with no message. Thank you.
Thank you, Cannoli.
Holy cannoli. There's this
cannoli.
great like Instagram channel that does like different franchises but Italian people. And it's like it's a guy who does like Voldemort's like, hey, everybody, and he just does the whole thing in like a deep Italian accent. It's fantastic.
Bad app. I'm not reading that.
Wait, where's Bad Apps?
You look for it yourself.
I'm looking.
Patrick
Carter's like, yes, specifically, I will look for it.
You're gonna find a lot, maybe. Patrick Fields said Indiana Jones was in reference to state names. Oh,
perfect.
Yeah. Darth Doza said, Brett, keep the Blade videos coming.
Well, that's all you get from me on social media. It's just skating and then like random. I randomly post
you
scenes
like hiding that you actually host a show.
No, that stuff goes in story.
He doesn't hide it now. In the beginning, he definitely
did.
That stuff goes into the story posts, not into the. There's something more to me, more like. There has to be something more like meaningful about posting like on your actual feed rather than
you should
just
have
your
posted
story.
about the billboard.
Sorry that we're not meaningful
I didn't.
to you.
I meant to. I didn't. I
do
posted
it.
that on my
do
story.
it. It's not too late. Just do
it isn't too late.
At the very least, change my profile picture to the billboard.
That would be funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and just
I'll
not
do it if you
address it
do.
ever.
Yeah, just not to.
Bobcat said, "Is it just the lighting there, or does Mary look like she actually went outside in daylight?"
Did you? Have you done that
I don't
recently?
know. I think I look the same as usual. But I didn't go out in daylight, that's for sure. Patrick Fields said Black Sabbath's Master of Reality is the greatest Christian rock album of all time.
I feel like
I don't think Black Sabbath is a Christian band.
I
Is it irony?
can't comment on that. I don't know.
I don't think that's true. Also, someone in the chat just said Dance Gavin Dance ?
There you go.
Oh,
Like-
you guys want to talk about Dance Gavin
Yes,
Dance?
do it.
I mean, I would love to.
They're extremely anti-religion, from what I can tell in their lyrics. I still love
Really?
the songs, but
Their lyrics
they
are mainly
definitely
concept.
seem. Well, a lot of the lyrics make no sense.
They're right.
Obviously,
They don't. Yeah.
but some of them seemed anti-religion to me. Like, if you're trying to make sense of them,
Like which one?
it's not like
Let's have an example. There you go.
It's a debate happening live.
Okay.
I was curious.
Frig.
It's always harder when you're put on the spot.
We can come back to it.
Let me look up a song.
Like a Carter's evil smile.
I'm
right now.
not
Name
like,
a song.
trying
Mary.
to. This is not.
Why
my
don't you
gotcha
name three
moment.
of their? Oh, you're a fan. Why don't you
Oh,
name
you don't
three
like
of their
them? Name
lyrics?
3 reasons why.
No, I'm like I genuinely want to know because I know Tillian makes music that has kind of like a positive message in a lot of the stuff. Like one song, he was like taking care of his dad while he was dying, and very sentimental and sad. But
So what is the question here? I'm out of the loop on.
There's no
Gavin
question.
Dance.
Talking about
He just
music.
said
I don't know,
Dance
man.
Gavin Dance ? And I just
yeah.
thought it was funny.
But they have engaged in a debate of whether or not they're anti-religion in their
Right.
lyrics.
Well, I didn't engage in it. Mary started it.
But I'm going to
Started
finish
a
it,
fight.
says Carter.
Darth Doza said, HC, I get the impression that your brain is constantly going 29 different directions at all times. True or false?
That's completely true. I'm actually sitting here with 2 laptops open. I think between
What? I
them,
just noticed you are.
between them, I think there are.
And then you just
Easily-
pull out a third one and we didn't even know
No, I
you
have my
had it.
phone though. Easily, there are 50 tabs open in front of me right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just. I'm really grateful to work in an environment that has a lot of stuff going on, but it definitely feeds my like scatterbrainedness a little bit.
Me and you have had that discussion a lot because a lot of times, like I can't ever get my mouth to actually stay in line with my brain. My brain is always working at a different pace than and then everything I say comes out wrong because I'm trying to like articulate in a way that makes sense to my head. It doesn't.
Yeah, I had a good friend who like told me initially when we met, he got a little frustrated because occasionally I would interrupt him, and I definitely try to work on that. He's like, but then I realized that you interrupt yourself to introduce new ideas into the conversation, and then you eventually always circle back to everything. So I feel less bad about it, but it is insane to watch you try and talk.
I'm not half that talented. I can't circle back. I just introduce new ideas without any actual
I
purpose.
hate interrupting people, but I know that sometimes I get too excited about what I'm thinking about or what they, because the conversation is exciting and good.
Right.
So I try to be respectful and always bring stuff back up, but it's bad.
Half of me and Hannah Claire talking is us interrupting each other
Yeah.
half the time. It's fantastic.
Yvonne Ortiz said, believe it or not, ICP is a Christian band. Back in October 2010, they had an interview where they basically said they tricked their fans with Christian values. LOL. I don't know how to feel about that.
Is that are the Christians on a regular basis ask whether about magnets and how they work? Is that where that comes from?
What?
ICP?
Insane Clown Posse.
I don't know anything.
I like
about them.
Insane Clown Posse because they have that line, magnets. How do they work?
That's what I just said.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, were you talking?
That's what Brett said.
Is that literally what you said?
That's what I said.
Oh man, I'm sorry. My screens have distracted me.
No,
They
I was
tricked
actually
all the
distracted by. I was
fans.
distracted by thinking that like there's a common thread among a lot of us that work here with this mind scatter thing because I've got it too.
Yeah.
What is the ICP rally that they do every year?
What is that called?
It's
Insane Clown Rally.
Are there fans?
No, it's like a
What are
like
their fans
festival.
called?
They have like a
I'll look it up.
festival every year, and I can't remember.
Aren't
the
there
name.
fans called something?
I'm sure they are. I don't know what that is though.
What is it called? Hannah Claire's
Hold on, I'm
looking
looking up. Look, vamp, vamp, vamp.
Raymond G. Stanley Jr. said, Brett, Arcane is a masterpiece.
I will have to check it out. That's one of those. It won't be this weekend because I'm going to be busy watching Samaritan and yeah.
Did you know Insane Clown Posse announced their farewell tour in August of 2021?
No.
I guess it's over now.
Who even knew? What is
They've
their-
been around for so long that I remember I didn't like Insane Clown Posse, but there was people that I played hockey with that absolutely listened to it.
And their fans are called Juggalos. It's all coming back to me now.
Juggalos.
Yeah.
One time I got really into a bunch of documentaries
The
about Insane Clown Posse.
Juggalos.
I can't say I really listen to their music, but I do get really into like.
I don't know
respect
why.
that they do it.
I mixed up like naming fan bases with the Grateful Dead Deadheads.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a good I think it's on Amazon multi-series like documentary on the Grateful Dead.
Deadheads?
Yeah, and like the culture that surrounded
Yeah.
them. And I like that a lot. I had never heard any of their music until I watched that.
Yvonne Ortiz said, X to doubt. Raymond and I play League of Legends Mecha set.
Gathering of the Juggalos.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's too literal.
Yeah,
Like you're just
It's a real thing.
it's a gathering of the Juggalos, but like why would you call it that?
I had friends that would go there ironically. Like
You don't go to the gathering of the Juggalos ironically.
No,
You're a Juggalo.
No, they were the same. No,
Yeah,
because they would
nice
also.
try.
No, they were just. They
You
were
trying to
just,
get one over on
They were just
on us?
mean. They would go to like monster truck rallies to like laugh at people that went to monster
thing
truck
is that
rallies. That was
they-
just mean.
That's the thing
Yeah.
though. Like they say they're going to laugh at people, but like they
They really
are
like
buying
it, yeah.
tickets and going.
Yeah.
They're enjoying the event.
Right. No, they're not.
or maybe they were just so sarcastic and I just didn't get it. Maybe they actually were like.
They
I
were
assume-
ironically going ironically,
yeah, maybe I just was like.
which means sincerely.
Yeah, like
Technically, yes.
Because maybe I was ascribing a level of like maliciousness to them that wasn't there, and I just assumed they were being sarcastic,
That's
but they weren't
insightful.
being sarcastic. I don't know.
It's getting deep.
Darth Doza said, Mary, coming back to the Catholic faith after almost 30 years gone, I'm old. Thank you for speaking up for what you believe. It is beyond appreciated.
You heard it here first.
That's great.
Speaking up for the
That's
act of
sweet,
not
thank you.
returning your cart is an act of.
I am
what's
just
this about
the
the cart
best
thing?
I don't get it
model
either.
of Catholic morals, aren't I?
I feel like now
Ramming my grocery cart into cars.
Okay, Mary made a point. Mary made a point
You
off
missed
air.
it yesterday.
Mary made a point off air that stuck with me, where she talked about. He said, "Look, do you put everything back if you don't buy it at the grocery store? Like, because I am religious about returning my cart because a cart pusher was the first job I ever had. So it bothered me when people wouldn't do it. But I thought about it. I was like, do you return? Like, if I pick up a loaf of bread and I find something else that I want to replace it with, do I walk that item back all the way to the original aisle? No, a lot of
I
times
do.
I'll just put it
I do too.
Or like if I'm clothes shopping, I don't always bring back the
Yeah.
clothing item I tried on.
So I admit my
Yeah, I
fault
don't-
there that there is some hypocrisy there that it's not much different.
everyone does
clothing-
things like that.
The clothing one is hard because like if you go to a place and you like grab a shirt off a rack, they have to refold
Right.
them, so you're
And
not
steam
necessarily
it.
saving them time by like putting it
But
back.
what if it's something that they hang up?
Yeah, I don't know. I could see it being like they
I
have to
don't
make
know.
sure it's hung up correctly with like,
I've
the
done
things.
that as a job before, and there's like a special way of doing it, all of that stuff, and then re-putting it in the right place. So it's like,
But like with the things at the grocery store, I think I feel really bad just leaving something random in an aisle.
yeah,
I've watched more than my fair share of like clothes folding TikToks in my lifetime.
Brett's like, I could do it. I'm better than they are.
You're an expert.
I couldn't do it.
I don't even do it anymore.
I have the
used to do
I
it.
have the Oprah Winfrey fold, which over. I've showed you that one before.
No, you
I
have
guess
not.
I'll show you after.
Also, excuse me, the Oprah Winfrey
I'm sorry.
fold?
No, okay.
I didn't realize there was like category.
Martha Stewart fold
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I
How
was
does
like,
that compare to
Oprah
Oprah
Winfrey.
Winfrey?
because
Something was just born.
it was after jail. Came out after
Motion
jail.
to get Brett his own housekeeping show.
Let's go.
We need to make up an Oprah Winfrey fold now.
We can
Yeah.
do that. It's just Harvey Weinstein shirts.
Doesn't have to do with clothes.
Dragon's Talon 1001 said Hannah Claire would go nuts after the first 3, then she'll go off ranting, I can't stand sequels, squirrels.
This is me watching Fast and Furious, I understand.
But the funny part would be is like she watches it and she gets really into it and she comes here with like a Fast and the Furious
You
hat
become
on
the
and-
biggest fan.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to happen.
That would be a positive response that's unlikely to happen.
Yeah. Yvonne Ortiz said they should remake the live-action Pokemon movie with Danny DeVito as Pikachu's voice. They could have made bank with that movie.
Did anybody here see Detective Pikachu?
I did not.
No.
Detective Pikachu? Okay.
Did you like it?
It was I remember almost none of it. It was I just remember Ryan Reynolds and that's what I remembered. Ryan Reynolds. I was a much bigger fan of Sonic.
Eddie Will Fight said, Mary, do you go to traditional Latin Mass? I do. I don't always, like, every Sunday, but when my schedule works, I do.
Or as I'm
It's
learning-
my preference, but, like, I didn't grow up with it. It is my preference now. But, like, when I was watching the interview with Bishop Barrett and Shia LaBeouf today, Shia LaBeouf was, like, very into the Latin Mass, and he, like, described it as something he has been, like, homesick for his entire life. And I just, like, to be totally honest, didn't have that strong of a reaction to it when I started going to Latin Mass. It's an important one, and I wish that it was the norm.
Is it partially probably because, and we'll get into it more on Monday, that he's like new to the faith, so he's very, very invested right now because it's all new to him?
Yeah.
Right.
That's common. But
I've
also,
heard
there
converts are the
are
most-
lifelong Catholics who start going to Latin Mass and end up loving it. It is my preference. I'm not super emotional about Mass in general, no matter what form it's in.
Yep.
1,000 Foot Deep End said, true story, watching The Mentalist this week, someone had a BlackBerry. I legit went, when did BlackBerry die off? Also, YouTube channel Austin McConnell has a video on the scam of printer refill cartridges.
Incredible.
A video essay, if you will.
I want to point out that The Mentalist has one of the greatest recoveries from a faux pas, from like a bad half a season. They screwed up they had a main storyline going for like 5 seasons about a serial killer named Red John. And if there's an opposite to sticking the landing, it's exactly what they did with the conclusion of that storyline. And then they managed to like pull it back together, change the some of the cast and the general formula. And the last 2 seasons ended up being like the last season and a half ended up being really, really fun in a way that felt like it should have never been possible when you can like take a story, take it for 5 years, screw it up somehow, and then still make it good.
So you
like,
can unjump a shark.
yeah, like they had Rockman Dunbar, who's a fantastic actor, Emily Swallow. Like it's really, really good, and it makes no sense because everyone should have jumped off the wagon when they screwed up that
Whose
storyline.
names? Rockman Dunbar?
Rockman Dunbar's
Emily
awesome.
Swallow?
Brett knows everything. He's
Emily
an
Swallow.
encyclopedia walking and breathing among us.
Rockman Dunbar was from Prison Break.
Oh.
That was a good show.
Yep.
Yvonne Ortiz said they postponed the Avatar video game.
How
I
do you feel
didn't
about
There's a
know that
video
that
game?
was ever going to be a thing. But, I mean, when is it coming out? Dragon's Talon 1001 said, think about the Avatar title, The Way of Water, and James Cameron wants you to sit through 4 hours of that movie. Hate to be the one to have to clean the theater.
It's just,
so true.
just water sound effects the whole time. If anything, it's just going to be a line to the bathroom, just the entire movie.
They did such a great job with the water CGI. It's just so realistic.
And then Champagne Supernova by Oasis plays at the end, which has literally a sound effect of like champagne, like it sounds like water, but it's a champagne cork going. Yeah.
They've got the mists as like a sensory experience. Yeah. Bobcat said, have any of you watched the OVA or read the manga Gunsmith Cats? If so, do you think Rally has enough guns?
I have not.
Not into
OVA is one of
manga.
those ones that I think might have been Tim referenced to me, but I could be wrong about that. Somebody mentioned that one.
Does
to me,
that
but
stand for
I do not know. We get requests a lot of times here to talk manga and anime, and it's just
I feel like that's a whole different
genre. It's like video games. It's got to be its own thing.
It's a whole different market,
yes.
even in and of itself.
It's just one of those things. I feel bad too because like there are ones that I've watched that they're fine. Like it's really, I can see that it's excellent storytelling, but sometimes you just have a preference and mine doesn't go there. Every once in a while, I'll immerse myself in it for a period of time.
I feel like it's the kind of topic you want someone who is passionate about it
and
talking
really
about.
knowledgeable on. Yeah. I would like to get Hiro Hay on here. He's a YouTuber.
Tophone Man said, just goes to show.
Just goes to show.
What?
Certainly does.
Halls and the Kid.
Aw.
Wait, what?
Next one down.
Oh, Halls and the Kid said, look at all these sassy legends in one room.
A League of Legends, if you will.
Spoken like a true
Okay.
legend because she is one.
You
Yeah, she
ruined
is.
it, Brett. Bad app. I'm not reading that.
I read it.
And-
Ooh, one from Bad App you can read at the end.
Okay, he said, fun fact, new Panic at the Disco is trash.
So I'd like to
That's
know
true.
what he considers new Panic at the Disco.
Ooh.
Because
we
where
have
does
a
it
question.
start?
Oh yeah, name 5 of their albums and what year they came out.
Tell me
me
when
look
the
right
era
now.
of New Panic at the Disco.
Because once I
What would
I
you
look
say?
at it, I'm gonna know.
What
So,
would you say?
I would say when Brendan Urie went like full on Frank Sinatra jazz pop, and you started hearing him on the radio. Up until that point, he was still Panic
It
at the
was-
Disco by himself.
Death of a Bachelor, I think
That's
that
when it
was
started.
trash.
Yeah, there's another song that what's the one where it's like, if you love me, let me go.
That was earlier than it.
Yeah, I liked that song a lot. I used to warm up to that song.
Yeah. Some people would say that they were trash ever since Brendan went solo, which is literally the very
That's
early
like
days.
really at the beginning of.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some
yeah,
people would say that.
some people.
All right, before we go, Carter, I want you to tell us about the process of making. Tell us about the song because I don't know if everybody here listening knows what we've been talking about this whole time. We kind of
Right.
Well, we only shouted out the name of the song one time, and I was like, maybe we should
Yeah.
like give it more publicity.
So, do you want to tell everyone about this project, about the music, everything going on, and give people kind of just a general breakdown?
Yeah. I mean, I could talk all day about it, but I'll try and get like some quick bullet points.
Yep.
So this song we released. The process has been kind of from the beginning. We wanted to release music. That's what I was hired to do. And figuring out how to make that all work, I was like, the best way for us to all release music would be some kind of record label with subgenres of people under it, like Tim, Ian, myself, my band, all of us as a band. And that has officially come to being with the release of this song and the launch of the label. This song, and up until that point, in order to get Tim's got so many songs, so
Yeah, a
he'll
lot.
come in randomly and just start playing acoustically, and I'll just hit voice memo record, and I'll get that, and I'll throw that voice memo in Pro Tools and try and figure out the metronome that would best fit that, the BPM, and then I'll start there. And he's one hell of a melody writer. And so he had like 36 songs that I went through, and then we chose like the best 12 objectively. And my original goal was to have an album done, which in retrospect would have been insane to think that would have been achievable. But it may have, but this song wouldn't have been on it because this is what kind of stopped that from happening, but also in a good way. We're really just trying to make music. I originally wanted to work here and for Tim because I'm a musician, I make music, but I also saw things that started to bother me in the world.
Your story is very eclectic in how you got hired here and the whole process.
It's really weird. I know Ian's shouted it out, my audition tape a few times, and Ian's actually the reason I had a job in the first place because he is the one who sent my tweet to Tim. He finally responded to me on Twitter, and I really appreciate that from him. It's I wanted to, I started a podcast and I tried reading books with my smaller platform, but ultimately I knew that here was the place to actually contribute the things that I was best at to the bigger goal of changing culture, and seems to be what we're doing. And with this release a couple weeks ago, I was like, there's no reason we can't chart on billboards, so I did all this research, and we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here, but the video we just released, and I gotta say special thanks to everyone involved. There's so many names to remember here, so I'm not gonna shout any particular people out, but it's incredible what we've achieved, I think, and there's a lot that goes into it. Right now I think we're at like several 100,000 views. The best thing to do
on YouTube, it was well over 250.
Right, and
when I saw
so
it last.
From the research I've done, the quickest way to chart on Billboard is to and don't quote me on any of this, but I believe like 150 streams is the equivalent to one song buy. So I made the song as cheap as possible, as cheap as it would allow us to go. So I think it's like 69 cents. So if you go to the YouTube video, watch it, or just go and click the link that is posted in the pinned comment or on the video. If you like it, share it, obtain the song through iTunes or, one of those places. We're going to make as much music as possible, and if this does well, then we'll start signing bands and continuing that. So,
and I wanted to ask a couple more things. One is that Tim has said that you have a very non-traditional approach to music, to the process of creating music. Can you tell me how that worked?
Did he say that?
Well, on the air, right? So it's like you have a unique approach, or maybe it was me and you that had that conversation.
Maybe
that said that you do have a very unique approach to the creation of music, right?
I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the traditional approach is, but I will say that, I tend to, I guess, it's tough to say. I'll hear stuff. This is starting to come out weird, but the traditional approach, it's almost like my strengths is like scoring in music almost. So I'll take sounds and kind of fuck with them until they sound cool. I do a lot of reverse shit, a lot of upside down sounds and chopped up and sliced stuff. I've been doing this since I was like 19.
And you did similar stuff for the Inverted World theme,
right?
Yeah.
So the Inverted World theme was kind of like my test to myself, and Tim liked it so much he said he wanted to make it its own song, which we'll also be working on.
If there are people out there who want to get signed on the record label, what should they do? Just I know you don't have any like concrete dates or whatever to give them, but if you have an idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing like when I first sent my video to the ether, out into the ether, I didn't get a response for 10 months because Tim was talking about expanding, but there just wasn't the budget and the time, and COVID was happening. So I mean, just keep doing your thing and hang tight and find a creative way to reach us. And if we can, get to that point, hopefully we can. if this song does well, then you will be found.
What is the do you think that the video because I love the video of
Yeah.
it. Like I made a comment to you. I said it's weird how the color grading in the video actually almost falls in line with the company's color scheme, which is a completely not. I don't know if that was on purpose, but it's beautifully shot and beautifully done. Do you think that the video itself captures the emotion behind the song in like a unique way?
Yeah, man. Like when Kent went out to do this footage with Shane and Nancy. The first time I saw it, I was so excited. I did not have any idea it was going to be so good, and I just ran up to the studio and was like, Tim, you got to see this. And he put it on the screen. We were both incredibly impressed, and that kind of like pumped extra energy into the whole thing.
Yeah, it kind of makes it more concrete in a way.
Yeah,
and
man.
It makes it something more like not palatable. It makes it more like concrete. Yeah, like
Right.
concrete. So like, if people want to be able to get a hold of it, where do they go to get the song?
So you can just go to timcastrecords.com. You'll be redirected to a launch page that'll point you to YouTube, iTunes, or anything like that. You can just go to the quickest way would just be to go to the YouTube
In the pin comment, right?
Yeah, pin comment. Or if you could pin a comment.
Yeah,
on
I'm
this
going to add
podcast.
something at the end.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll give you a link, and then if you just go there, the video has all the necessary information that you would need, and hopefully you'll like it. I know it's emo. We didn't really think about that.
Well,
A lot of people loved that about it, though.
Hey,
They
right?
loved the nostalgic
Yeah.
factor.
The 2000s are back.
They really are, though. Like, they're coming back.
Avatar is getting re-released.
Avatar.
What
we
year
got-
is it?
Emo music is back.
It's funny.
I'm so glad emo music is back.
Hey.
That was like, we talked about this early on when I heard Carter's band CD. I remember being like, this is going to be a Warped Tour this summer, right?
Oh,
Like it
God.
really sounded like exactly what I used to listen to when I was like in middle school and high school before I like learned I wasn't musical. and
What's
can't
funny
pursue
is like
music.
people have been saying that about the stuff I write forever, and it just so happens like I never changed, and now it's coming back in, so I'm getting lucky with this.
You're like, it falls
Yeah,
right
it's like,
into
oh
place.
shit, I'm an expert at pop punk.
All right.
Perfect timing.
All right,
Not
Carter.
an expert, but
let
yeah.
everyone know where they can find you, and then just if you have anything else you want to say, let them know about the song.
Yeah, no, guys, if you, all of our hearts are in this. I really do think we can make a change, and you can be pivotal in making that change with us if you get this song, and we, get up on Billboard and stuff. I think that'd be sweet. We'll have the pinned comment and stuff. You can find me at Instagram, Carter Banks 4L. Twitter is Carter Banks. And the rest of my links are there pretty much. Got a YouTube, that's Carter Banks. I can't think of anything else, but if you go to timcastrecords.com, that will be where you can start to find all the music and stuff.
Dude, awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
No problem. Hannah Claire, let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on timcast.com. Click on the read tab. I write several articles a day there. You can find me on Instagram at hannahclaire.b. You can find me on Gab at hannahclaireb. And I believe I'm on IRL tonight at 8 o'clock or whenever that happens. Thank you guys so
Perfect.
much.
Mary, let everyone know where they can find you. And I think there was one more from Bad App down there.
Oh, was it a bad one?
I think it's a bad one.
Okay, because I wasn't going to read that one.
Okay, that's fine.
You can find me on Instagram or WeChat at CloserKitty. And whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there. And again, thank you to both of you guys for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
Guys,
it's been great to be here.
If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic. For the show, we are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, or Spotify if you would rather listen rather than watch. Social media, Twitter at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. One more super chat, Mary. Do you want to read it before we sign off?
Let's see. 1,000 Foot Deep End said, gonna try some reverse psychology on Carter and recommend he not listen to Adam Young's scores. He took historical events, Titanic, the U.S. Civil War, Project Excelsior, and wrote beautiful scores to them. So
You're saying you
don't
did
listen to
Titanic?
that.
Yes, you're saying don't listen to that.
Well, you
It's
can't
bad.
like
Don't
add the
listen.
extra stuff in there because it's not reverse psychology now. I will listen to it.
Okay.
I think that's what he was going for.
I know.
Guys, we will be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.